we're growing quite huge, we're expanding quite quickly, and it's a chance for you to get to expand your knowledge as well. Zenly connects organizations with problem solvers. So we have lots of our partners and sponsors on Zenly. We have lots of competitions. So when you enter those competitions, that's how you connect with those organizations, and you get more exposure to those organizations. I will take you through the website and show you everything about Zenly in the next few slides. I did mention this, but I just want to emphasize this. All the challenges in Zenly use real-world datasets and challenges. We work with a lot of our partners and sponsors to create challenges that are real, or real in the sense that it's not just theory, like you're working with real tangible data. You're working with data from the World Health Organization. You'll get data from different organizations in environmental. So you're really working with real world data. It's a community of learners, researchers, developers, and data scientists. So I want to say it's for everyone. I feel that data science is for everyone. So I feel like if you're in the room today, you're in the right place. So yeah. So learning through real problems. So I just want to explain what I mean by this. So traditional learning is like you have lectures, you have tutorials, you have taking notes, right? And then Zenly learning is very action oriented. So you do a challenge and you actually learn how to do the things that you learn in theory. So it will be a challenge, and you actually have to clean all the data sets. You actually have to do feature engineering. Other than reading about it, you have to actually implement it. And you have to actually submit the different things that you do within the challenge. So Zenly learning is very hands-on. It's very practical. It's a way to build a portfolio. So I don't know if you guys know, but I'm just going to use dev as an example. So if you are a developer, they always ask for your GitHub or a portfolio or something to show that you have experience in what you say you have experience for. So Zenly is a great way to build that portfolio. So if you have certain challenges that you've entered, you get badges, you have a way to say that I did do this challenge, I know what I did in this challenge, and this is all I learned from this challenge. So it's a great way to build your data science portfolio. I wouldn't say it's the first of many. There is Kaggle, so you can use Kaggle as well, but it's one of the first ways that you can show that you have knowledge in data science, which is important because the interview is going to ask you all of those things. So it's a great way for to show that you have experience. So I'm just going to show you the different skills that you will develop on Zenly. So you have your technical skills, so that's feature engineering, working with machine learning models, data cleaning, data mining, all those technical skills that you build. And I want to say it's reinforced because you're going to get different challenges all the time. So it's almost like your brain becomes very adaptable and flexible to the different type of technical concepts or context that you have. So it's not always that you'll deal with astronomical data. You might deal with climate data. You might deal with engineering data. There's lots of different challenges. And the whole idea is to make you adaptable to the different contexts that you have. So if you think of in terms of hackathons, you're not going to host the same hackathon all the time. You're going to host different hackathons with different data sets, and you need to be able to adapt to those different data sets or different contexts. And that's why Zenly is great for that. Trains your mind to be, I would say, assertive or aware of the different contexts that you'll be working in. And then Zenly also has what you call group hackathons. So you enter as a group and then you build a solution together. So the soft skills that you would build is collaboration, communication, understanding your teammates, working together, being organized, managing your time better. So all of those soft skills are also built into the challenges that we host on Zindi. So you will be developing those skills as well. Yeah. So this brings me to my next point. So we are building communities, not just competitors. So even though Zindi has its own challenges, we would like to host other organizations' hackathons. Like, we are very open to that and we would love that. So if you are very interested, I can put you in touch with my team and they would love to host a challenge that you had in mind on their platform. So I just want to share a bit about what makes Zindi different. So for us, we do believe that community is strength and we learn a lot from one another. So we focus on team formation. We have lots of discussion forums. The nice thing about Zindi is that it's African oriented. In other words, it's for Africa. There's no one that's left out on the African continent in terms of our users. We are really open to other countries. We value knowledge, and we also say that knowledge sharing is very valuable to us. And we are looking forward to learning from other people, from our peers. And we are very, we value cross-country collaboration. So in our challenges, we do have country-specific challenges, but there is nothing that says you can't work from someone from a different country. We value that you can work with other countries or other people from other countries. So opportunities for students. So I just want to ask, who here in the room is a student or currently studying? Okay, great. There's a lot of hands. Okay. So for students, the nice thing about Zindi is you get to build practical experience. So I'll take you through the website later, but basically you get to build practical experience. So if you enter any job interviews, you'll be able to say that these are the data science skills that I learned, and then they're going to ask you, where did you learn them? And you can say, I entered these Zindi challenges and make reference to them. So you get your practical experience. You get to create a project portfolio. So it's like your portfolio. I always refer to a dev because a dev always has their portfolio, but it's your data science portfolio. You get to learn from experienced practitioners. So on our page, we have tutorials from people who have won competitions. So they take you through how they have won the competition or their solutions, but we also have like tutorials, like learning material tutorials. So you'll learn from experienced practitioners in data science, the different concepts that you would like to learn if you wish to upskill in machine learning. So they have lots of different courses that are for those skills that you wish to learn. You get to join teams and collaborate, as I've mentioned earlier, and you get to explore different application areas. I say this with much enthusiasm because I would say you don't really have control of where you might end up, and you might end up or experience a context where you know nothing about the data that you're dealing with. And that's important because you need to be able to say, I don't know much about this, but I know how to do data science. So if I know how to do data science, I can do data science in any field, in any area, in any industry, in any sector. And that's the goal. You need to be able to say, I can do this anyway. And that's what you can gain by using Zindi as a student. So I'm going to delve into opportunities for researchers. I just want to ask, who here is a researcher or doing their master's, PhD? Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you how Zindi can be beneficial to you as well. Yeah. So, okay, there is Kaggle, but if you want access to specific research, diverse data sets, you can also use Zindi for that. They give the data in quite, I'd say, a very nice packaged way. So depending on what you're looking for, you can find a data set that you wish to use for research. They'll give you the source, they outline everything, they give all the terms and definitions of the data set. As a researcher, you could also, like if you are, say, doing something a bit more technical and you want to explore on how to, maybe you're looking for like a benchmark to start at, then I would say these challenges is a good thing to look at. Like you don't want to, I would say, you don't want to do all the work and then to find out that there is something that does this already. The whole point of research is to make things better, and you want to see what is out there before you do something. So Zen is a great way to explore what is out there, and see how it could help you with your research. I would say there's a lot that is in our challenges that you could use as a foundation for your research. You also get to connect with lots of different people and different practitioners. So we have a lot of different people from all over Africa. And it would be nice if you know that this person is interested in the same research that you're interested in and you want to collaborate, or you just want to find out what they have. Like maybe on their profile, they show all their publications. You can go read it. You can go see, is this really something that I connect with or align with? And it's the easiest way to connect with people, other than LinkedIn. If you're looking for something very specifically technical, you get to collaborate across institutions. So you might be in Cape Town at the University of the Western Cape, and you might meet someone that's in Ghana at the University of Accra, and you find that you're doing similar things or similar concepts of things, and you wish to write a paper together. That's a good way to collaborate with someone. I think the one thing that Sydney is well known for is that they really focus on real world problems. And from all the previous speakers that I've listened to, they've all said they want to make real impact. And Zindi is Zindi would be the best possible place to think about translating research into impact, because we really focused on how do we use this, but for real world stuff. And it would be nice to see how we could possibly translate any type of research that we have, could be astronomy research, into how we could translate that into impact. A good example would be, I know that someone is recently going to launch small rolling, they're going to launch devices that's going to the moon. I think it's next year, 2020, beginning of next year. So they're doing lots of trials and experimentations with it. But it's interesting to see how they're translating theory into real impact, which is quite interesting. So opportunities for hackathon organizers. So as I said, Zindi is really open to hosting hackathons on their platform. We would love for you guys to host hackathons on our platform, but this is just how it could possibly benefit you to host on our platform. So we do a lot of work with AI, and we have really looked into that as well. So depending on how you want to build your challenge, we are really open. So before the event, we'll sit with you and we'll ask, what type of challenge do you want to host, or what is the question you're asking? What do you want them to have access to? Like some people want to give you a starter pack, some people don't want to give you a starter pack. So for Zindi challenges, we tend to give you a starter pack. So what that means is we will give you an EDA notebook, we'll give you a Python notebook, and we'll say what we want you to do. We'll give you like a certain characteristic that we wish for you to improve on. So basically, we kind of we do all the hard work for you, as in like, nobody really does that stuff anymore, if that makes sense. And we say like, we want you to improve on this specific feature. And then you do a lot more feature engineering in the challenge. So it depends what you want, but we're really open to that. And then obviously during the event, you get to showcase real world applications in the different sectors or fields that you find yourselves in. And we encourage collaborative problem solving. And then after the event, you get to maintain engagement with your participants or with the Zindi team. You get to maybe, we do lots of edition events. So like maybe you have a June edition and then you have a follow-up edition of that edition. So you could have like follow-up challenges on the challenge that you have hosted, and you can create continuous pathways through Zindi. So maybe you say this is version 1 of our first hackathon, and then maybe we do a version 2 and say this is how this is different or better, or we're building on the same idea, but we're looking at something different from a different angle. Yeah. So I would say working with Zindi is a sustainable pipeline. So what I mean by that is that there's lots of opportunities to go from after Zindi. So possible like things is you could become a Zindi ambassador and do more partner more with Zindi. So this is just one possible journey. So you could do training, you could have a hackathon, and then that hackathon you want to host it on Zindi, so it becomes a Zindi challenge, and that leads to more community activities. You could meet someone that could mentor you via the Zindi platform or any part within the platform. So you get mentorship, and then you meet new community leaders and maybe you want them to be a part of your team. So then you end up building an online community through Zindi's platform. So it's just like one pipeline, but there are many different opportunities that come from using Zindi. And then I mentioned growing Africa's AI ecosystem. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but everyone is AI crazy. I would say the hype is at its highest. So I feel like with this, we can grow AI's Africa ecosystem. So through this, through using Zindi, or you get to train more people on how to use Zindi, you get to involve more people in data science. Like that's kind of where we're going with. You get to strengthen local communities. So maybe there's someone that's in your city but can't join physically, but is remote, and then you're joining. I mean, you are growing your community, even though they are remote, and they can't like maybe travel to get to your event. Physical events are hard to get to, guys. You get to create more opportunities, not just within data science, but within AI and machine learning. That whole sector is all intertwined. So never feel like you have to be like strictly data science or strictly AI. You get to solve African challenges. I would say we have a lot of languages. And even though there are places like Google that are doing translation, we still need you guys to really tell us what this means, because you've spoken the language. We really don't know. So it would be nice to solve those challenges. I do feel that African challenges, we really know the extent of them. So I feel like we should be the ones to solve them, and we have the ability to solve it. And we can build competitive talent. I feel like Africa has amazing talent, and we definitely should cultivate it, nurture it, and Hack4dev is a great platform to do that as well. When you go back to your countries, nurture the local talent, give them opportunities, see the potential in them. So I'm just going to show you how to get started with Zindi. If you're interested. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is to create a Zindi profile. I'm just going to go through the steps and then I'll go to the website. So you're going to create your Zindi profile. You can explore, there's like a lot of tabs, but you can explore the active challenges. We also have practice challenges. So if you feel like you don't really want to like immediately start with competitions, you can do a practice challenge, get points for the practice challenge. They do mark it, they do give you feedback. And then once you feel confident, you can move on to real challenges. You can try joining a team. So if you want to, you can create a team and then do the challenge together. You can participate in discussions. So we have different discussion forums, and everybody is talking about different aspects of AI, data science, machine learning, and you can introduce Zendy at your own institution. So when you go back home, you can tell your friends about it, you can tell your community about it, you get to share what you have learned today. So this is what the website looks like. So this is the page that you'll see. And then this is the link. So I'm just going to quickly take you through this through this website. So if you go to compete, this is where you'll see all the different challenges. So at the moment, you'll see we have a World Cup challenge. So anyone who's interested in soccer and predictions, please feel free to try it. It closes soon, but it's beginner friendly. So you can see that it's beginner friendly, and the prize is 1,000 USD. Also have multilingual health question answering in low source African challenges by ITU. So that's another challenge. You can see there's a variety of different challenges and contexts. So that's what I really like about Zendy. And you can see that there are prizes, amazing prizes, all in different currencies. Some of them are like really big. This is our past challenges, but you can also say, so here you can say you want to go to a challenge, you want to go to a hackathon. I'm going to click on practice. So this is where you would practice. So you can practice, and then you get, I think there's certain points that you get. So here's urban air, here's insurance prediction, here's some of them are country specific, flight delay prediction, spot the mask challenge. So there's all different, these are just all practice challenges. You can also select the difficulty. So if you are a beginner, don't feel bad. You can start at beginner and then work your way up to like expert. And then if you really want to be like specific and you want to be industry specific, you can search which industry you want to focus on or the challenges that you wish to focus on for industry. And there's a lot. There's a lot at the moment. Flooding is great for people in Cape Town because we're expecting winter rain, so that would be interesting. So they have lots of different options over here. Then there is jobs. So we currently are still, I would say, expanding the partners and sponsors that we do have. But we're hoping that we get more partners and sponsors to have a bigger selection job board for data science AI. So you get to choose your location, how many years you have, or your experience, your employment type, and basically it's like matching you with jobs that our partners and sponsors might have, and then they put you in touch with a representative at Zendy, and then they use your Zendy profile to apply for the job. So on your Zendy profile, when you set it up, they ask you for everything. They ask for your work experience, education. They ask you to give a copy of your CV. They ask for everything. So it's like a built-in job board, if you say so, yeah. And then this is learn. So we have different courses. You can pick the difficulty, the skills, the different providers. So you can do it with the Asian Institute of Digital Finance. We have IBM, we have Microsoft, we have data.org. So all of these courses, I think, are credited with these providers. There's also tutorials. So you can say you want career, getting started, data skills. This is where the meet the winners is where you meet the winners of the challenges that we've had, and they go through the solution. You can also go to technical. So these are a bit more technical. These are like the winners. And then these are the data skills. So they show you like how to write documentation. documentation is also really, really important. And then they had lots of other skills as well. Yeah, I think there's 2 pages. So, and then the getting started. So like if you want to do just for example, multi-metric evaluation or one metric to draw them all, that's where you will learn this. It's a lot about data science metrics and all the things that you would possibly look at. Then there's also the chat. So you get to see what everyone is like speaking about. And you can see all the different countries represented here. They have quite a huge selection. And then the leaderboard. So this is the all-time leaderboard. I think this one was updated. So you can see, so there's medals obviously that you get, and there's points, and then they say like where you joined, but you can search by country. So it's just because we're in South Africa, I'm just gonna search here. So you can see everyone in SA that is in the top leaderboard. Actually, have quite a huge participation from our users. And then for the more, you can just like, that's just like normal for business. If you want to be a partner, if you want to meet the team, if you want to do any press, case studies. Yeah, so this is how the website looks. But if you are keen to join Zendy and you want to build your portfolio, or you just want to see what it's about for yourself and you want to explore it, please feel free to. So you can click, that's where you will sign up. And then the QR code you can also scan if you wish to use that instead of the link. But this is the page that will show up when you click on it. And then there's different ways to contact us. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So we just type Zendy, you're sure to find us. And there's also contact information on the website if you wish to speak to a specific person. I can also assist with that if you want that as well. And yeah, I am at the end of my presentation. I don't know. Well, okay, I still have 10 minutes, so there is time for questions. If anyone has any particular question about Zendy or data science in general. Thank you.
If anyone has questions in the room, could you please come to the front?
Platform, you don't offer resources, right? You just offer credentials.
No, we do have resources.
I mean like computing resources, like
We do have tutorials and courses.
no, that's not
Google.
like Google Colab, you actually use cloud, so you don't have cloud resources.
No, nothing on the next page.
Right. You did that right.
Yeah, it's really hard to implement everything into one platform. Yeah, but I will take note of that and take it back to the team. Yeah.
So my question was on how the people use Zendy in the background hackathons. If we can, how like a person can create, you can use to select participants, or besides using it as a platform for challenges, and if you can create like practice questions, or if you use them to select participants. And whether it's free to use, or if you have some collaboration with them to search, or it's for future, if you are organizing future hackathons. So I'm asking how you can integrate it as a hackathon organizer.
Okay. So I don't do that part, but we have a team obviously that designs the challenges. So it obviously like set up a meeting with them and say, this is what we want specifically. So you can have like, say, institutionalized hackathons, as in like only for that community. So we find a way that they can sign up so that only they can join the challenge. So I'm not trying to do that, but I know that they do that. With regards to, so I think with the prizes, you would just negotiate on what you are giving up as prize, and then they'll put it on the platform. As far as I know, I don't think there's anything that you have to like pay to host on the platform, as far as I know. But I can put you in touch with someone if you're interested and give you their contact details to say that you're interested in hosting on Zindi and what does it entail, the entirety of it, all the details. Yeah.
There's a question there first. Yeah. Could you speak loudly, please, for the people on the phone? Okay.
Morning.
Just to clarify, with the data sets, let's say those data sets that you have from, let's say from those who post or following the competition. So do they allow it only for model development solutions, or you can also allow the sections to, like the way Kaggle it's operating, you can have a data set and advertise it also for research purposes to explore maybe the model and also write an application. I don't know if Zend is also doing.
I would have to double check, but as far as I know, if you enter the competition, you have access to all the data sets and all the, I would say, starter pack models. There's nothing that I know that has said that they're against you using that for further purposes.
Sometimes you can join the competition and maybe not end up completing it, then you participate and then maybe you still repeat. You are being allowed, like if you didn't manage to finish the competition within that event, not even after the competition, you can still utilize their resources.
I think, yes, I think you can, because you can download it. So I'm assuming you can still use the resources.
It's completely available.
In a way, yes.
Any other questions? Do people online have any questions? Okay, if not, thank you so much, Jessica.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So next we have Dr. Nikita Ram, who will provide an overview of the data science hackathon program.
Switch my camera on. There we go. All right. Everyone online can see me? Yeah, I will. Okay. All right. Good morning again, and welcome again. Really excited to have all of you here for this second cohort of the Data Science Hackathon program. So I'm going to give you a little overview of the program, where it started, how we got to where we are today, and what we're trying to achieve, if it's not already evident. Okay. Right. Okay. So I think this is probably everyone, but how many people have attended a hackathon, any hackathon before? Yeah. All right. Don't feel left out if you haven't. Okay. So let's start with, I'm just going to say, or just remind us all what a hackathon is exactly. So a hackathon, I'm sure most of you have realized, but it really took off in all industries and spheres, and it doesn't even have to be fully technical. Okay, a hackathon is now anything where you need three things for a hackathon. You need a problem, and you bring people together, and it usually is done over a very short period. Okay, so those are the three things that make up a hackathon. It doesn't have to be technical, but you know, most are, and this one is. So why? Okay, why do hackathons? I thought it might be nice to just talk about this. So we have many graduate students, many professionals that have programming skills. So now I'm referring to these data science hackathons. They have programming skills, and they would like to know more about data science and machine learning techniques. They might want to venture into it, either to broaden their horizons with, you know, opening up more job opportunities, or looking into using these skills in their research. But the truth is that most people, they lack access to courses, especially where they'd have support. Or most of the time I find that, you know, especially students or those working in this industry, they don't really know where to start, and they don't really know what path to take. I mean, thank goodness Jessica showed us, you know, wonderful paths that you can take through Zindi. And it's good to point out that you can probably contact, she's a Zindi ambassador here in South Africa, but there might be ambassadors in your local region. So you could even contact or reach out to them if you want them to give a similar talk at your regional hackathon. That might be something cool to do. But yes, most people lack access to these pathways, or don't know where to begin. You start looking online, and there's a myriad of different ways that you can go about learning it, and it can be quite overwhelming, and people don't really know what they should focus on. There's a great sort of intimidation factor, you know, when it comes to machine learning. I know it's true for students, but it's even true for, you know, people who are, most of the researchers, you know, the last time I presented this, there were mostly researchers, you know, in early career researchers in the room, and even they said that most people are quite intimidated. I know you're not, but most people are intimidated by taking that step for machine learning. So we want to address that as well. And then you know, lots of people are watching tutorials or going through courses, but as Jessica said, you know, this might not be the best method for learning, and they don't get hands-on experience, especially working on real-world problems. We also have, you know, from the innovation side, we found that it's obviously a good tool, right? You have diverse groups coming together from different backgrounds, like we are here today, working on a problem can definitely lead to innovative solutions. We have the example of last year's cohort. So from all the regional hackathons, there was the winning solution far outperformed the baseline of Throne. It was about 160 times faster, I think. So the challenge that time was about speed, not accuracy. And it was 160 something times faster than the baseline solution. Okay, so it's doable. And let's, while we're here, address what about AI? Okay, do we still need to do this? Do we still need to build these skills now that you can use Claude Code or whatever and say, do this, or this is my data, right? But you know, it's very dangerous or unsuccessful to treat machine learning solutions as a black box, okay, especially in research. And having a good foundation, even while using these tools, it's good to use these tools. We're going to use them. You're going to use them. The participants of your regional hackathons are going to use them. We're not going to stop anyone. That would be silly, okay? Because we want to make use of this, but you have to do it in a way where you understand the foundations of what you're doing. Okay, so it's very important to have that foundation and the understanding of classical models and knowing when to use what and why. Okay, so even though we have these things available to us now, there's still a very, you know, there's still a very real need for these kinds of things. for these kinds of events. And why in particular the Hack4dev hackathons? Well, like we've said, in our onboarding session, we want to make these skills accessible. Okay, we do require that people have intermediate level at least of Python programming, but we don't require that they have any prior knowledge about data science and machine learning. So we're trying to make it more accessible. We're trying to say it's not only for those who are experts in data science. I always tell people, or those students that are interested, that the gap between going from not knowing how to code and learning how to code is bigger than going from knowing how to code and learning data science and ML. Okay, so we want to make it accessible. We want to boost the participants' confidence. We want to take them through these hackathons, and by the end of it, they feel like it's something they can do. It's something that they can go further with, pursue their own journey, whether it's to eventually get some kind of job or to apply it to their current research or next, PhD or something. So yeah, it's a very, we put a lot of emphasis in making this a very, our regional hackathons should be a very welcoming, supportive environment where, there's tutors, etc. And yes, it's a competition because it's a hackathon, there's a prize, but with our hackathons, the real reward is growth. And everyone gets that, if they commit themselves. Okay, you would have seen this already in the onboarding session, but for those who might have not been there, I will just go through it again. So on the right, you'll see what's called Bloom's taxonomy, which is describing different levels of learning. And, just from remembering something all the way to creating. And a hackathon in a few days pushes participants right up, to the top. They go through all these different stages, and by working together to create something new, it really solidifies their understanding and their knowledge of the topics and the techniques used in machine learning. But like Jessica spoke about, there's a whole range of things that you get out of a hackathon, and a lot of you having taken part already in hackathons will know this. But okay, obviously hands-on experience, obviously the research skills, the techniques used for these data science research, and the other ones that she spoke about, especially the soft skills. It's really, really wonderful to see. Okay, you will see it in each of your regional hackathons. The networks, the friendships that are formed, and the soft skills of time management and working together as a team. More often than not, people come together very ticely. One or two occasions where you have some friction and people are like, oh, this person doesn't want to listen to me, and etc. But for the most part, you'll find people coming together from diverse backgrounds and working together very nicely to create some solutions. And we've seen wonderful examples of people who come and maybe they haven't even given a presentation before. Okay, and that might be the thing that they take most from this, is that, oh, they had to stand up on the last day and the whole team has to present and they had to overcome that. There was an example of one of our hackathons. I think it was the FS hackathon last year. Yeah, I've already spoken about boosting confidence. So I think that's the core of it. That's the core of it, is that after going through this, working through the challenge, trying, to work directly on the problem, you can imagine how much time you could waste just watching tutorial after tutorial on YouTube and never actually doing yourself. If you're watching tutorials, you're watching someone else do, you're not doing. Okay, so the best way to learn is obviously to do things yourself, to build projects. So it forces people down that route because it's an intimidating route to take. Zindi has made it, as reduce the resistance as much as possible, and it's a wonderful pathway that you can take as well to continue learning. But that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to say, even if you don't know anything about data science, come to a regional hackathon, work with the team. In the team, we'll go through this just now, but the teams have different, you will compose the team yourself such that each team is equal in terms of levels of knowledge. So you might have the people who are more experienced with data science, and you make them sort of the leads of the team, or spread them out and then fill the teams accordingly so that you don't have all the experts or the people with the most experience in one group. And so there's a lot of peer learning that's happening as well at the hackathons. Okay, so just to take you through a bit of the history so you know how we got here. It started back in 2018, and this was a partnership with the Dara. It was actually called at the time Dara Big Data, and it was a sister project to Dara, but now the two projects have become one in this latest version of Dara. And was a partnership with SARAO, which is the South African Radio Astronomy Observatory, and IDEA, which is, so you see, IDEA's been there from the very start, right? Yeah, they've been providing their wonderful research cloud facility for supporting all the hackathons from the start. So back then, you would see maybe one hackathon per year because it was done, it was organized, by people who were, had full-time jobs, so they were very busy. And then in 2020, through the Office of Astronomy for Development and Dara, they brought on a person to sort of coordinate this, a big data fellow, and that was me, okay? But I came, at the beginning of that year, 2020, I came all excited to run hackathons everywhere in Africa, and boom, pandemic, okay? So had to get very creative about how to continue our efforts. And then 2 years later, thanks to Prof. Carolina Odman-Govender, she saw this opportunity, since so many of these partners that you've heard from today, they all had the same objectives, okay? You could, I'm sure when listening this morning, you could hear the overlap. And we thought, right, we're all trying to achieve the same things, more or less, like, let's launch this as a partnership called Hack4dev. Again, just a reminder that dev here is referring to development in terms of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, not tech development, all right? So Hack4dev was launched in 2022, and we had new partners come on, AFAS, SAO, and BRICS Astronomy, who you heard from this morning. And then it was in 2024, at the beginning of 2024, that we launched this new strategy, the new model. So in, from 2018 to 2020, there was about one hackathon a year. And then from 2020 onwards, there was about 3 or so hackathons per year. And then when we launched this new model that you're now part of training up organizers, and who would go on to implement their regional hackathon, it's increased substantially. The objectives have also evolved over the years, okay? So initially it was just providing, it was more similar to kind of outreach, right? It was just bringing in people. They didn't have to, there wasn't a requirement that they, had to have programming skills necessarily. It was just about, whoever's interested, come, have some exposure, okay? But then we refined it, and then in 2020, now we had this put in place as well, that you did need to have basic Python programming, and there was more of a emphasis on global development impact, okay, with the OAD coming on board. So a lot of our projects then also were more development focused. Okay, we had one about COVID-19, we had one about using Earth observation data to look at the flood damage after cyclones, things like that. But then in 2022, when we launched Hack4dev, we also there was also a Hack4dev IDEA data scientist brought on. And at that point, the projects that we ran became research-based. So before that, we would just, create the hackathon projects ourselves with topics that were relevant in, development in Africa or around the world. But then in 2022, we started working on projects that were, the topic of current research. Okay, it was either somebody's research that we were taking forward or expanding on. And of course, in 2024, when we launched the new model of doing things, this really accelerated everything. And now we were having objectives in terms of skills like we've always had, but now we're including innovation as well, because we're running, 22 regional hackathons this year. So you run the same project 22 times. It's, you have a good chance of innovation and some cool solutions. All right, and then we also have hackathons themselves being a subject of innovation and analysis. So there's a PhD student at the University of Leeds. His name is Islam Hussain, and he is analyzing the impact of hackathons and how they can be best used to achieve these both from a learning perspective and innovation. The audience has also evolved. Like I said, at first it was mostly postgrads or even sometimes final year undergraduates in STEM fields at a specific institution. So we'd organize one, for example, at University of Zambia, and it would just be those students, from just that institution. When I came along, we opened it up to people from any institution in that region. If you could make it to the hackathon daily, then you were welcome to come, even if you were not from that university or you weren't a student at all. We once had someone coming from she was working in a law firm, but it was the natural language processing challenge. And she was like, I need that, to go through all their millions of documents. Okay, so that's what involved the audience there. And then we had grew our audience across Africa by introducing an annual FS, that's the African Astronomical Society. So there's an annual hackathon now attached to the FS conference. That was since 2022. And in 2024, so because we've now added innovation, we've now stepped it up a bit. And now we require not only a beginner level of Python programming for the regional hackathons, but an intermediate at least, because we found that people, obviously, as you ramp things up, they struggle to cope, they struggle to keep up. Okay, so we need at least, for your regional hackathon participants, we need at least intermediate level of Python programming. And for those who, if you feel like in your region or your institution, this might be hard to come across, because we've seen this before, then there are things you can do prior to the call for applications. Maybe you can somehow organize a 1-week crash course on Python, or you can send them resources, like Zippies or not Zippy, because it's not for Python, but there's a lot of Python free resources online. So there's a few things you can do to help people who might be interested to just polish up their Python. Okay. All right, so here's the list. I did show this in the onboarding session as well, but here's the list of all the ones we ran before 2024 and the launch of the new model. Okay, so those in red were fully virtual, so open to everyone. We just made people work on WhatsApp groups and communicate with each other. Proved easiest, in Africa with lack sometimes to internet and things like that, or even power in some cases. So this is a list of all the hackathons that we ran. And this is just to show you some statistics in terms of the total number of applications for each one. And you'll see in red there the total number of female applications. At the top, I have the percentage as well of female applications. And I wanted to highlight this kind of early on, because it's something that you'll need to be aware of and work toward. So, it would be great if we could achieve gender parity at all the regional hackathons, but that's not always possible. But we can do whatever we should do whatever we can to get as close as possible. So I wanted to highlight here that you see the issues in the application stage, right? It's not that lots of women are applying but not getting selected. They're not applying, right? So we need to find ways through different networks to reach more women who might be interested, or make it as, have the wording or messaging be as encouraging as possible. Or, whatever creative ways you can think of to attract more women applicants. The real reasons are obviously rooted in intersecting social and structural factors, but we do whatever we can to help this. Clear supportive messaging, visible female representation, and an active sort of outreach to women's networks. The ones with low numbers, that's all. Well, before 2020, that's because it was a university-specific hackathon. And after, because COVID got in the way there, it didn't stop Kenya though. Yeah. Okay, and then some of the projects, you've seen this as well, but some were, you would hear them. So how many people are not from the field of astronomy? Ah, great. Kind of astronomers anyway. Okay, all right. So so we had a few projects that were linked to astronomy, but a whole lot that were not. Okay, the only one that so we've done an image classification for galaxies, and then we had a cool one that was more suited to even high school learners, where it was looking for aliens or an alien's technosignature that we did in collaboration with Berkeley City. There was a cool NLP looking at Twitter data around the time of COVID, doing some sentiment analysis. And then I mentioned the flooding one as well, but they're all available on the GitHub. They might not work anymore because they're not continuously updated, but you can get an idea of what was done before. Okay, and then I showed this, but I wanted to speak a bit more. So I have mentioned that this is part of the impact evaluation is part of a PhD. That's Islam in University of Leeds. So the feedback forms, which Zolo will tell you about, they've been carefully designed, okay, with even input from social scientists, and it's used in part for the impact evaluation. So in addition to these kind of testimonials, we have received feedback from people, many who've taken part in a hackathon, a regional hackathon, and who went on to participate in further data science programs, courses, competitions, some who pursued studies. So they were doing something else, and then they did a machine learning based project, for example, in their PhD if they were doing masters. And some people have even gotten jobs. Okay, they've gotten internships or jobs in data science, and they email us, say thank you. They're now, they're now working somewhere after this was sort of ignited that spark, and then they go on to do great things. Okay, I'm also going to go a bit more in detail than I could in the onboarding session about the new model. So this is what you call a cascade model. Starting with training the organizers yourselves, and you going on to implement your regional hackathon. So why is this important? Obviously, it has greater reach. It's more sustainable because you can organize your regional hackathon, and then you can organize hackathons independent of us after that. So that it creates more sustainability. But other than that, it's important because of other things, right? Representation and being relatable. Having relatable tutors, speakers, it matters. Okay, if I were to go to your host institution and speak to them and try and teach, I might not be as relatable, obviously, or as effective. It does make a difference. Duduzile will talk to you for an hour about that. I mean, she can, not she will. She could. Yeah, she's the yeah. So it really does make a difference when it's local people providing this training and not people coming from outside. I'm sure you can see the worth in that. And then we see wonderful examples where people who used to be participants become tutors or mentors for the next hackathon, or people who were mentors or participants become organizers for the next hackathon, right? So how many of you here who are now today here as organizers were actually tutors or participants at a past hackathon? Up high. Right. Okay, it works. Okay, so that's wonderful, and want to continue seeing this. Okay. Right. We can obviously discuss more of this as the days go, but when it comes to your regional hackathons, you might be wondering about how the scoring, reviewing applications, and how selection works. So we will provide this list of criteria and even a scoring mechanism. But in general, scoring is done blindly. You accept people from any background as long as they meet the requirement of intermediate level of Python programming and they have a good motivation for why they want to gain these skills. Obviously, they also have to be able to attend the full event because otherwise it would be really a shame for their teammates. And you have 20 to 30 participants in each hackathon, a regional hackathon. So some important points there is that they must be able to commute to and from the hackathon. Okay, we have had a few exceptions in the past where this was not possible. Botswana was an example last year. And in those specific cases, we see what we can do, right? But at the moment, we have not worked into your budget allocations, any allocation for transporting participants to and from the hackathon or providing any kind of accommodation. Okay, so the first plan would be that they can come from any surrounding institution or, even if they're working professionals, as long as they have the time, they can commit to being there the full 4 days and they can commute to and from the hackathon. But if you approach us because you have another idea or why this won't work in your specific case, then we're open to looking at how to make it work. Okay, the key elements here, right? So we'll have a day 0 where you will have your registrations and some machine learning presentations. You can reach out to Zindi if you want them to come. But anyone, we've had people come from like Standard Bank. I think, where was that? That was in Ghana? Oh no, Kenya. Kenya. Right? We've had people from industry or academia who could come through, or even both. Both would be nice, both perspectives, to come through and just give a talk about how they're using machine learning in their jobs. So, yeah. And then when we start the actual hackathon, we traditionally have an icebreaker just to get everybody comfortable with each other. So should have made you do it here. But what we usually do is we ask everyone to stand up, say their name, where they're from, and one thing about them that most people don't know. And it becomes very interesting and often funny. Okay. Okay, and then they will work through the tutorials. Okay, you'll see I'm sure you've seen the notebooks. They will be given much more time than you. Okay, so they'll work through the first day. They usually work through the tutorials. They take the whole day to just go through things, become familiar with it. And then after that, they'll start trying to innovate or find new solutions. You have, like we've said, you have tutors. You will need to have, they don't have to be from the organizing team. You can nominate other people from outside as long as they can commit to becoming familiar with the project and have obviously experience in machine learning and can assist the participants as they go about working on the solutions. On the last day, of course, teams will give a very short 5-minute presentation. You'll have a judging panel. You'll have, during the judging time, the rest of the participants will fill out the feedback form that we spoke about. And then you'll have your prize giving and maybe a social event if you have the time and budget for it. Okay, there's a format, we spoke about it already. There's a template. We can, adjust this, but this will be made available to you as well. We try and make things, we know that everybody is doing this on a voluntary basis, right? So we try even the smallest things. Zab will tell you more of the resources that we give you, but we try and make this as easy as possible, for you, so you don't have to spend any time putting your program together. You just go and fill this out. Okay, so that was, in our last cohort, we had 13 regional hackathons from 12 countries and 189 participants. And this is just some of the feedback. Okay, this is the last slide I'm going to show. I'm going to speak again a bit later. But this was some of the feedback from the regional hackathons. Okay, so in terms of the skills, the teamwork, the machine learning skills, teamwork, problem solving, and time management. So make sure that most felt like they did have at least some level of improvement. Most were huge or significant. So that bodes well. And we've seen it for ourselves that these things do have an impact both on your personal growth as well as the growth of your technical skills. So I'm going to stop there, and I haven't left too much time for questions, apologies, but it's coffee time. But if there's any, so we can talk more at coffee, but are there any questions at this stage? Yes.
So when you said intermediate platform, like what classifies as intermediate?
Good question. I think if they have, not just done courses, if they've actually done a few projects where they've had to have some sort of solution either at university or I think a beginner would be someone who has just done coursework, like they've done an online course, or they've just done, or if their course has involved them working on a project. Then I think that would count, as intermediate, as long as they understand enough. I mean, when we go through our tutorials and things, it's not important to know every line of syntax to understand what we're doing in terms of data science. But so it's not too much. It's just when we've said beginner, we've had people who have just done watched a video for an hour, So I think that's what we mean by intermediate, just that they're more or less, they know their way around. They can code, they can code, basically.
So would you say like a 6 months in course, that has assignment is enough?
Yes, more than enough, yes. Yeah, that's a good question. Any other questions? Any other questions online? Can't see the chat. Is there anything wrong?
Nothing much.
Okay.
Good question.
Just the client. So for the team, every institution we choose our own.
You mean the hackathon challenge?
Yes.
So the challenge that we'll be running, that you will go through, is the Earth Observation Challenge. And like you heard Jessica say, the skills are transferable, but the reason that we run the same hackathon, we run the same hackathon, the same challenge at every institution. There was an exception with 2 hackathons last year, and that was because of, I think it was because of resources, computational resources, or no, it was because of the participant skill level. Okay, they really struggled to find participants with that, level of Python programming. So we changed for them, the project. But it's also much, much easier, and it's very important because of how we do this. You'll see that Theo will talk to you about Ilifo and how it works and their virtual environments. So if we had to set up 22 different virtual machines with different requirements, it's a lot, so that's another reason why we run the same challenge. But if there's a very important reason why you need to change or would want to change, then we can talk about it. Yeah.
So basically, we're gonna do the same and yet doing it.
Yes. Okay. So just to clarify, because someone asked me yesterday at the hotel, we're not making you compete against each other. Okay. At this is a training event. Okay. We're taking you through the hackathon so that you learn best. We're putting you through the actual process so you experience it, and you can then best guide your team and the participants of your regional hackathon and how to, you might experience things and be like, oh, when I do it, I'm going to do it like this, so I must make note of that. The best way to prepare you is to take you through it yourself, and obviously you're going to get very familiar with the challenge by doing it this way. So you will present on the last day for 5 minutes as a team. You will find out your teams later. You will present, but no one's judging you. Okay, we're going to, it's for feedback, and discussion around the solutions and what different directions you could take it in. Yeah. Okay, so I think we should go to coffee and you'll hear more. Oh, we're taking a group photo. I know we're not wearing our t-shirts, but because it's mostly my fault, I'm leaving you sadly tomorrow. I'll be here in the morning, but I'm leaving. So we're going to take a group photo first. Where is it on the steps?
No, we're going to do it here,
We're
so
doing it
people
here?
can join online.
Oh, cool. Okay. So yeah, if everyone could first come to the front, we'll do a photo. But thank you. Thank you.
Stop going. Okay, for those online, please turn on your cameras for a second so that we can add you to the photo. For those in person, please come to the front, facing that way. That includes the partners, Hack4dev team members.
Yeah, I'd like to see you to find the final. Yeah.
Right? Do we need the lights, Bebo?
So patiently waiting for my jacket. When Roger arrived.
We are going back. Oh, so yes, my fault. I thought I stepped high enough. Well, let's see. We need to go in that space here. We can put it back a little bit.
Like this.
Okay, I'm gonna think we have 4 people. There are people online. Be ready. We're taking the photo now. Yeah, please switch on your camera.
Oh, wow.
We need like 7 cards for fun, go back to.
Yeah, cheese, maybe put some cheese on the. Yeah, sit.
Oh.
Yeah, from the sides, please come to the front.
I don't see the smells.
Thank you. Okay, before. Before everyone leaves, a couple of quick announcements, please, for those online as well.
Guys.
So all team leads, remember that you have your presentations later in the day. Please send your slides to Zodwa by 1 p.m. So this is for all team leads, both online and both in person. Please send your slides to Zodwa by 1 p.m. We'll be taking a 21-minute tea break now. So we'll come back. For those online, we'll come back in about 20 minutes. For those in person, we will lead you to the tea break at the South African Astronomical Observatory. So we have a couple of people who will lead you there, but we only have 20 minutes. So we need to be quick. Right?
Yeah, the bathroom. Otherwise, anyone time.
No, that's a big thing.
They don't think.
Oh, I thought it was too early.
I'm good, how are you?
Did it change?
They keep that,
Yeah.
change the program.
What?
Will he present this afternoon? It's the end of the year.
End of the afternoon. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, it's on the.
I wondered. No,
Yeah, that's-
okay. Okay, but I didn't look it up. Yeah.
Hey, I'm trying to find yeah.
Oh, I need a. I super disaster to this.
I think they have
Oh, there's here. No, there's a plug point there. Oh. There's.
yes, so,
It's okay. You're going to be speaking for an hour.
nah, 20 minutes, I think, will be enough. Like,
For a whole hour.
nah.
All your, it's yours. Yeah, we don't. Yeah. Oh, mine. Yes. Yes. Yeah, but so we want to ask about the two verses. Yeah, how should we have to say to the like okay and so like what do you is it like this? Oh, yes, 100%. I'm going to talk about that in it's mostly kind of everything I had worked with.
Oh, yeah, let's just say that.
So is it like fast? Okay. Okay. Okay.
I mean, just like. You're right. How would you say? Yeah. It looks like a mask questions. Like a mask before this.
We found that we make it yourself. Too much. So yeah, but it's from like times. Oh, you can. It's to give I think one. I'm not drawing it. So that way is yeah, like this thing here. The presentation, I mean, if you decide the morning to like try to call it something, the thing how saying something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think we need the 3 days.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We do need all of it.
Challenge.
Yeah, we do need the stuff. So it also like you are when they do like really too many videos. Like they don't put that so that you can
Yes, and we also want to also, okay, our like student treasury system that we have to participate is really slow. Like it takes like 1 to 2 weeks to reflect on our different. Okay.
Okay, know about that, I have was the band was should cancel. Yes, and then so you have to come favor then for you. The person for you guys, yeah, because you have things. Oh, really?
But it's great everyone for that. Okay. So.
All right, well.
All these. Okay. So you have to be there in terms of support. Yes. So that's why we. That's fine. Yeah, it's 1 hour. Okay, yeah.
And then also like if let's say we end up getting a couple guys, and hopefully like sort of when we request sort of you guys can ask my so that other person you guys can simply the things that they have.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do there?
Your institution, that whole process. So it's not that, so. Technically, you know, to finalize your budgets next week. So it's.
But it takes 2 weeks, 1 to 2 to reflect on our account.
And then also we need to request.
Yeah, which is also 1 to 2 weeks. And sometimes the people take leave. They don't talk.
They take leave and then they come and say, hey, it's expired because they were okay. You see, teachers are like,
Yeah, so
you can suggest
great. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Are you doing computer labs that week? Oh, and you.
You know, and then you like.
Yeah.
So yeah. And you know what? They've been put the top into like teams about this just from this video that's till 5. So I think that's why
When it's in very low, then you can have fun. You can maybe so.
Oh, yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. But
and for the judges, I also almost especially in Calvary, I claim from your side also.
all your my judges as well.
And then like you need to come up with the way how they charge and we can you just have to be there to see everything. So you just say
So like how do we with your content? But it's so but people come back. So we come back.
Thank you.
Oh, you're so pretty.
Exactly. No, I said that nose is not. That nose is not moving to the end. The cheeks are not cheeky. It's not really. Cheeks are not cheeky.
The problem is, it's just. And then you. So I know it's not playing. This has one. Should I split this? Have the problems of extracted. And I'm actually answer, but you know, they say with that. Yeah. They have to buy names. We don't even like a little bit. So, yeah, you already have a reason. Exact one, have you got wrong those or yes? Okay, exactly. What was provided from this one sponsor? You're going to do it. This is our open space sponsor. Everybody's different. Maybe we'll find some.
So,
So what I'm basically break up to and then have to do with it. Okay, so that's all. Thank you. Yeah, because I don't think. Yeah, no, our sponsors. Sorry.
Oh, I think I'm gonna contact the designers that work for AB's for.
Yeah, thank you.
Do I do make that? Yeah. That's what I'm wondering. I feel like when people are
I'm not running with that, but I want to do this logo for you guys. All of a sudden, no.
Don't change it between these areas. I'm gonna put your logo.
No, it's gonna be, don't worry. Yeah. Especially for the exhibition, I'm like, I'm printing new things, but it won't be enough for this.
Yeah. But these, so we'll add those. Because we don't.
Is that what's sponsored?
Okay, that's this.
What's that? What is that? You don't need any money?
What is it trying to?
They,
Go into the.
When
Will exhibit.
deciding this doesn't get exhibited.
Yeah.
Go save money then.
Yeah. So we're gonna end it.
I'm not sleeping.
No. We're playing Charles. Do you still have good quality and then so we had to keep it?
I could probably do something, but I don't know what they are. Maybe they have that goal.
Very volunteer we want to get it's going to be crazy. Okay, we have a extra bunch. Error. But you might have like that's it for this one. And if we would love
You can find.
I mean, once again, I suddenly got always getting on into the library. And I'm going to walk yeah, I'm talking about the job. Yeah. Like,
Electronic subjects.
I don't really understand how.
that's why. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, I'll go to work on yes. And then we finish at 12. Do you want to go with me? The fine.
Oh, you should have to get rid of it.
You want?
I think it's the overall.
Yeah.
You have some friends. What was that called? We had a box. There was a box. For something.
Mine's like.
Oh, living next.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Let me step up. Yeah.
Can I please use it?
So. No.
How can I connect here?
We have someone from IT to assist.
I think even like 2 minutes.
No, but our presentations are going to be short, so we should be
Yeah.
fine. You want to connect?
Yes, so that I share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I don't have to connect, like, because I joined via Zoom,
Oh,
right?
yeah, you can just share it.
I just share the screen.
Because
Okay, no worries. Let me just go this. So I'll have to speak on the mic. Okay. They say, hello friends, they can log in again after and they are in the team lead. Okay.
You joined the Zoom meeting.
Yes. I have to?
unmute, then you switch from the smoke.
Okay.
You could please put in charge and when you're done.
Yeah, I will. I think I have to mute myself. Then I don't know, like, or I just have to turn this on actually.
Is it not on?
Now, yeah. Okay, thank you. I just have to.
Fine.
Oh, yes.
Okay, it's fine. But I'm not sure if it's just.
Yeah. Thank you.
Are you gonna show them the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like.
Okay, welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, at this point.
Okay, welcome back. So now we go to Theo for a talk on the cloud facility that you'll be using for the rest of the week. Theo.
Thank you. Morning and morning to people online as well. Yeah. My name is Theo. From IDEA. I'm the systems administrator at IDEA. So yeah, mine is simple. I'm just going to be introducing. I'm going to introduce you to the cloud compute which we'll be using throughout the week. What up, the lights?
Yeah, good.
Sally already introduced IDEA and did mention that it's a partnership between three universities, being UCT, UP, and UWC. So the purpose of IDEA, why IDEA exists is because we want to support Meerkat and SKA researchers to enable the data-intensive researchers that is coming, and with Meerkat currently running. So we support both astronomy and bioinformatics. So our cloud computer is called ILIFU computing cluster. So ILIFU being a cloud in Xhosa. Yeah. So I already mentioned that we exist because we want to support the huge data that is coming from Meerkat and the one that will be coming from SKA. So SKA, we have two SKA, which is SK Low and SK Mid, Low being Australia, and in South Africa we're hosting SKA Mid, and that SK will be producing about over 300,000 terabytes data a year post correlation. And as you can see, this amount of data to process, there is no single laptop that can process this type of data. So this data will be coming from almost 200 antennas that will be distributed across South Africa. Currently, Meerkat is producing over 10,000 terabytes. I think you all know what like terabyte and stuff. So we use cloud computers to process this vast amount of data. So this is like a cluster which has like the compute nodes that are connected and they communicate with one another to act as a single laptop. And the good thing about this is that it enables collaboration. People can easily collaborate on this because it's on the cluster, unlike having to work on your laptop where you are isolated. So there will not be as much progress as there is when you're in a cluster. You can collaborate with people across the world. You're not limited to your institution and stuff. So at ILIFO, at the moment, we have 110 compute nodes, and those nodes are used to process Meerkat and other telescope data. And we also support hackathons, like my colleague Sally already mentioned. Yes, so I've created a virtual machine, which you guys will be going to use throughout this period. And the environment is, I try to make it easy to use. So they will provide you guys with the login details, which is your username and password. So we have 5 virtual machines, meaning you guys will be split into 5 groups, and each group they'll get a link. So if you're in group 1, like how you'll access your VM is just through this link, and you'll see this dashboard where you put your username and the password, which will be provided. So you have to use your details. Don't use your friends' details because you defeat the whole purpose of this. So each VM is running on 16 CPUs and 128 gigabytes. So some of the notebooks they are memory intensive, meaning you guys among the group you'll have to work together by not running those notebook at the same time. You can just like let one run, leave the other. Once it is done, you run that. But that's the case where you have like some memory intensive task which you will see and you will identify as you work through this. So once you log in, this is what you will come across, which has 2 directories folder for those who are from Windows background. So the first one is building age classification, which has your notebooks and the data which you'll be using for this hack, and the is shared. So the shared directory, this one, all the people in the group, they have the same thing, like it is a shared directory. Okay, this one already explained. And okay, so this is the files which you'll find inside the building age classification. So this note, there are 4 notebooks and there's data. So you'll just be running these notebooks. They will explain more on like this ones. Yeah. Then you can create a new notebook. So to create that new notebook, it's easy. You just click on this one. Will create a new notebook for you. I'll show you. And you also have Python console and okay. Okay, so this one, your data currently, how your data looks in the notebook is it was designed to read data from different directory, but I organized this thing differently. I put a data directory where the Jupyter notebooks are. So when you run this, you'll come across where the data is defined. There will be double dot. You just have to remove single dot, and you'll be with one dot, which means run from here. So like dot in Linux language means here. So the directory will be, it is inside where your notebook is. So just here, then slash data. So that's you're directing your notebook where the data is. So when it's double dot, it means go back one space. So that's not how I put this. So like it was just in where the notebooks are. So you remove single dot to be left with single dot. So there are two, just remove one. Yeah, like I said, you guys will be sharing this meme. So like some memory intensive OX you might need to have to run after one another, like not run at the same time. Then if you want to shut down the kernels, you will have this on the kernel, then it shows, if you click on this one, it shows on the kernels, then it will show shut down all, or you can specifically choose which one to shut down. So the moment you shut it down, it will no longer consume any mem. Like once you're done, just shut down your notebook. Then we have a terminal. So this terminal is a Linux terminal. You can use it to create like those who know Linux. I think I don't know the experience, but those who are new to Linux, so we use terminal to create directories or files, or even navigate across our cluster, or like within the files and stuff, or even to install some packages. So yes, if you want to do those things, like if you want to monitor your server, you'll do on the terminal, or you want to install new packages, terminal is your friend. For an example here, I just wanted to check my path to the working directory. So like at home it was home trainer 6, so I used one of the users there, so like it will show you where you are and stuff. And if you want to list the directories or the files that are there, it's ls, which means list, the Linux language. And you can have it with these extensions. It will show you the permissions and all those kind of things of the files and the directories that are there. Yes, and then if you want to monitor the memory usage, you just we use htop. So if you on your terminal you type htop, then enter, it will show you the current memory usage. So in this case, it was 817 megabytes of total 1.3 gigabytes. Yes, like I mentioned, you can install the packages on the terminal. So if you want to install a package, this is the command which you will be using: slash shared virtual environment bin python space -m space pip install, then the name of your package. And before you install package, you have to check if those packages exist or not. So to check current packages, you can just this command: shared virtual environment bin pip list will show all the packages that are installed in your virtual environment. And the moment you install something, using this command line, it is installed in your shared, meaning all your group members will be having that package. So you do not need to all 5 of you install this. Just one person install and everyone will be having those packages because they are in a shared environment. Like here, I installed this package. So it shows that this was successfully installed. The moment your package is installed, it shows successfully installed. And if you maybe mistype the name, it will return something in red to show that this was not successfully installed. Maybe it will say the name or whatsoever. It can direct you where you went wrong. And you can also create a virtual environment. And this is how you create your virtual environment. And this one, more info is inside this. I don't think you'll need to create virtual environment. So I'll not go in detail. But if you're in a position where you need to create this, how you can create the virtual environment. And if you create the virtual environment, the moment you need to use those packages, you'll have to activate that virtual environment. So you activate the virtual environment, you install, and once you're done, you just activate and stuff. Like I said, I don't think you'll need this, but that's something you can do. Yes, so we have this shared folder or directory. So inside this shared directory, there are 3 directories. Building a classification, which is what you already have. So I put this so that you can be comfortable in editing your notebooks, knowing that they spec up script. So if you are in a position where you need to, you messed up your script and you need the script back, you can just copy them back from here. You should not run the script from this shared. And anyway, you do not have permission to run. You will just say you don't have permission to run this. So this scripts are just read only. They are for you to copy if you need to replace your old script, which you did things that you want to have anymore. Then there's this directory called collab. So if you want to share data among your group, you can just place them inside collab for collaboration. Then each and everyone inside that group will have the files. This is how you can easily share files among you. And this one, like directory for virtual environment, that's where we install those packages. Then if you want to upload the data, there will be this arrow. It will, like this one, we use this to upload data. So you can upload data from your local laptop to this virtual environment by just clicking here. Then it will direct you. Like it will ask if you want to upload from internet or your local machine. Then if it's local machine or whatsoever you select where your data is, then it will be uploaded to this cluster. And if you want to download this notebooks or any data, so you just double click on that file. Then you'll have this, which it has download here. Then you download it will download that to your local machine. Then you can have them forever, which is something that we'll have to do towards the end of this, because the virtual machine will not be available some days after we're done here. We'll have to download all the materials you want, and we just get this offline, erase everything. Yes, so this is some, let me just run some things to show you the things that I was talking about. Let me have this. So yeah, this is what I was saying. You'll have something like this. If you double click, this is the notebooks that are there, and your data, you have this is the data that we'll be using. And currently inside Collab, there's nothing. So you just populate this if you want to collaborate or share the files whatsoever with your team. And so yeah, so like now I click terminal while I'm inside the shed, so it opens that inside the shed. So if I do this, it shows where I am. And if I want to go back, it's just cd, then now I'm at home. And if I say how to open that, it still shows that I'm at home. Then I can just navigate to, let me say I want to go to build. So you don't have to type the entire thing, type it autocomplete, then you enter them. This is how it is. It shows the files that are there and stuff. And you can, like I said, you can have a notebook with this one, import, let me just say numpy as np, you run it, then it shows that numpy do exist. And if there was no numpy, it will tell you then you need to install numpy. So like, yeah, this is how it is, and console, this is how it is, and if you're running your things here, you can like 1 + 1, then it returns whatever the things you want. And okay, I'll show the terminal and stuff. I think that's it from me.
But you don't have AI attached, like with Google Colab, they have AI attached.
Now they don't. Now we don't.
No questions?
This is what you will be using.
Yeah.
That-
There is a question.
You mentioned that you will post the machine after this.
Yeah.
So how possible is it to run the digital machine?
It is possible. So I think the top memory it use is like 36 gigabytes. So if your machine has memory above that, you can run those outputs in your local machine. But you might need to install some packages, of which I can show or share with you how to install those packages in your local machine.
You answered me yes. But even the right question.
So like okay, these notebooks, they're there online, and like now you'll have access to them. Like I've shown you how to download the notebooks. You can download these notebooks and just run from your machine, because they're Jupyter notebooks. You can run them from your machine, and if they complain about any package missing, you can just install that package.
Okay, no, maybe in terms of the if I can follow it, you have to run from a machine. In terms of the other question. We're not able to show how big is the data. How we can benefit from our laptop.
Yeah, it can run from a laptop. Like, okay, so this one, the thing is, I'm saying it depends on the laptop.
Yeah.
So if your laptop doesn't have enough memory, you might try like, yeah, so like, it depends with like your laptop. It might run and be slow, and yeah. I think there was a question.
I have a question. So how many servers do each hackathon has in a hackathon?
You mean like the groups now? Oh,
No, in the region hackathons, in the real ones. There's a threshold like you have 10
I think you understand what he's trying to say. I think what he's trying to say is for the regional hackathons that we're to host, how many virtual servers would be assigned to each?
Oh, no, that one, I don't know. So you'll have to apply. And if it gets approved, then you'll be allocated the virtual environment. So like that one, I will not guarantee you.
I wanted to say that, but I think he wants to know, are we also going to work from the same platform when we host our regional hackathon?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so to clarify that, at the moment, IDEA has capacity to support about 10 or so of regional hackathons, but we will have something in place for the others. Okay, we will provide the compute resources. Yeah, either through a partnership with the Google Colab or other providers. Okay, just because of the demand for the resources is a lot. We scaled up. Last year we did 13 hackathons. This year we have 22. Okay, so and it's taking part over just a few months, all of them in a few months. So you will work with this for this hackathon, and at least 10 regional hackathons will have the same system. But those that do not, you don't have to worry about it. That is our responsibility to sort out for you.
Maybe just said that they might be a training if a platform is going to be different.
Yes, of course, yes. So whatever platform the other regional hackathons will use, there will be an online training for that. Yeah, but for those that are using Elito, it will be the same in terms of each team will have their own virtual machine. Each team at the regional hackathon.
Yeah, so if maybe our hackathon using this platform, we will get access to the slides.
You get access to?
To the slides that we can.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So how about, this is something I don't know, how does parallel processing work? We have 16 CPUs to the team. But suppose I want to run a model and parallelize. How does the sharing work? Can I use more than one CPU while I'm running one program?
Yes. So that 16 CPU is for group. So meaning, so like if there's like one person running, they can use the entire 16 CPU, like when you parallelize your job or script. But now we cannot have like all people running maybe 10 CPU at the same time, because like the moment someone takes 10, then we're left with 6. Yeah, so like we can parallelize if we run sequentially, like one run, once it's done, like the other run, like that one is possible. So it's not 16 per person, it's 16 per VM, yeah, which is like that group.
So what happens if the group tries to use more than 16? Does it crash?
Yes, so it will just kill their kernel, but that is not really an issue.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, like I'll just deal with such. The same thing applies to memory. Yeah. Yes, last night I was I'm trying on like working on this such that when you use more memory than you have, it doesn't kill the entire kernel, but just kill that Jupyter notebook. Yeah, but that's something I'll do. Yeah, as we work, so that doesn't kill like the entire VM for the group, but just that notebook for you. Questions? The other online has questions. Online, do you have questions? Let me check. Yes. There are no questions.
Nothing in the chat?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay. Then I can stop sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you once again.
Thank you so much. So next we move on to a presentation on all the logistics and planning for the hackathon. So will talk to you about that.
So I just share my screen out.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Zodwa Tiki, and I work as the operations coordinator for Hack4dev, and I've been in communication with literally everyone in this room. It's genuinely just so exciting to see everyone present, as well as having people join us online. We have been planning this event for a very long time, since last year. So just like seeing everything happening is so amazing. So my presentation is basically just like to walk you through what's going to be happening after the Trends Hackathon in terms of implementing your regional hackathons. I'm not going to say much about what Hack4dev is because Kevin has already done that. So just like a quick summary, basically like a joint initiative, and we're supported by various partners that also spoke earlier on today and introduced themselves and the work that they do. And since then, we have grown into a global initiative that basically tries to connect research with development through hackathons. So Nikita already highlighted our two main objectives. The first one is on skills development, where we try to build data science, problem solving, and technical capacity across communities. And we do this by or through the data science hackathon program that you guys are part of, the second cycle, as well as supporting our partners in implementing their own regional, hackathons. The second objective is on innovation, where we encourage creative, data-driven solutions that address local or global development challenges. And that's exactly what's going to be happening from tomorrow, where you're going to be tackling a specific challenge. So the main key points that I'm going to be highlighting includes the regional hackathon implementation timeline, the admin requirements for the regional hackathons, the budget and logistics planning, marketing and communication in terms of like how we should market and communicate before, during, and after your regional hackathons. I'm also going to be speaking about the Hack4dev templates resource, as well as support that's going to be available when you are hosting the regional hackathon. So essentially, I'm just going to be guiding you through the key activities that must take place after this hackathon to successfully plan your events as well. So this is just like an overview of everyone who's present today, or the teams that are funded this year. So we have 22 regional hackathons that are going to be hosted in 13 countries. As you can see, we have a lot of projects that are going to be hosted in the African continent, because we received a lot of application in the continent. Initially, we also had another project that was going to be hosted in India, but unfortunately the team in India will not be able to proceed with implementing the regional hackathon. So this is just like an overview of everyone who's basically present. So we have hackathons that are funded by DARAM. We have, and those are the hackathons that were approved for full funding. We also have partially funded hackathons that are funded by the OED, AFIS, as well as REIS. So DARA is going to be funding 17 hackathons. By now, we should know your funder, because this was also included in the grant agreement that we worked on at the start of the year. This is just like the overview of the hackathons that are funded by DARA. The OED is going to be funding 3 hackathons. The other hackathon that cannot continue from India was also going to be funded by OED. So essentially it was 4 hackathons, but now it's 3. And FS is going to be funding the hackathons in Zimbabwe and Ethiopia. We also received some funds from Greece, and we are going to distribute the funds that we received from Greece towards the partially funded projects, just to ensure that they have like a fair amount of funds to use to implement the regional hackathons. So in terms of the admin and the documents that we've worked on so far, we have completed the grant agreement, which includes the commitment between Hack4dev and your teams as well, or your institutions, and this was signed and submitted at the end of, sometime this year. We also had the event proposal, which includes the initial regional hackathon plan, the proposed implementation dates, as well as the budget. This is also going to be something that I'm going to be speaking about in my next slide, the event proposal specifically, because I've received a lot of questions about like when people should start planning for the regional hackathons. And I've also received the banking details. And this is the account that's going to be used to transfer the funds from Hack4dev to your institutions. So if there are any changes in those documents, especially the banking details, please do let me know so that we also update that. With regards to the event proposals, we shared the event proposal with everyone, and I received the completed documents where you basically outlined when you're going to be hosting a regional hackathon. But unfortunately, because there was a delay in implementing this trainers hackathon, that also affected the regional hackathons, because there's a lot of time that is required for you to plan for your events as well. So what we're going to be doing this week is that we're going to be sharing the documents to everyone, and then you're going to provide us with 3 preferred dates that you're going to be hosting a regional hackathon. Once we have all the different dates, we're going to confirm when each hackathon is going to be hosted. Since we have like a lot of hackathons that are going to be happening this year, and we also highlighted the capacity that IDEA has in terms of providing computational resources, we want this document to basically avoid any scheduling conflicts and ensure that we also receive support from our side. So we just want to see how we can, plan everything. And then in terms of the admin for your regional hackathons, you're going to launch the regional hackathon call, right? And this is going to be done after the trainers hackathon. We usually give people like 2 months. Please correct me, Nikita, if I'm incorrect.
Yeah, I think application, it must come down to the participants are informed at least about a month before the event that they will be taking part. So you need, before you inform them, you need maybe 2 weeks to leave the application open, and then another week for reviewing, scoring, and selection. So it's probably about 9 weeks maybe before the hackathon. It's more safe.
Yeah. And then you are going to share the call, like using your university mailing list, for example, social media platforms, student societies, or any other departments that are going to help you to distribute the call, just to ensure that you actually get enough applications and just to avoid extending the deadline for application. We do have application form template that I'm going to share after the trainers hackathon. And in this process, just like ensure that you have like a committed team that's going to assist you in promoting the call, and also going to be present throughout the regional hackathon, just to ensure that things run smoothly. And then after you receive the application, that's when your reviewing process and participant selection is going to start, which is something that Nikita just highlighted now. So you can just like assign a few people or reviewers to assess the applications. This is just to ensure that there's fairness and transparency. And usually, like for the regional, for the trainers hackathon, I gave the reviewers like a week, if not 2, to review the applications. And then I have to highlight the importance of prioritizing gender diversity and inclusion when making the final selection. So like even when you're promoting your call on social media, please do encourage female participation and ensure that there's like gender representation. This also helps everyone to see that we have like inclusive participation, and also like Hack4dev extends opportunities to represented groups. And then after that, that's when you're going to be sending your application outcome letters. This includes the acceptance letters for those who are accepted, as well as rejection letters. We do have the template as well that I'm going to share after the trainers hackathon. And then once we receive the document where you specify when you would like to host your regional hackathon and we confirm the dates with you, you then start planning for your regional hackathons. By now, I think people have already confirmed the venue in terms of like where the hackathons are going to be hosted, like the institutions. And then you can obtain like codes from your suppliers for catering, goodie bags, printing, branding materials, or any additional logistical requirements. I've also received quite a few questions with regards to funding and when the funds are going to be transferred to the institutions or to the teams. Funds will be transferred once we have all the documents required on our side, right? And this usually takes about, like, I think, when do you usually send 3
weeks? So from when your budget is approved and so it's transferred from the University of Leeds to here at SAO, that takes about 2 weeks. And then I think when it's transferred from this institution to yours, it should take another 2 to 3 weeks. All right, so to reflect in your and some of you have highlighted that, then you have to go into the process of claiming that through the institution. So we will, once we have the schedule of all the hackathons, we will obviously prioritize those hackathons that are first. So the hackathons could be anywhere between well, we haven't worked it out really, but 7 weeks from now or 9 weeks from the end of this week, which will be the first week that you could realistically hold it, all the way up until the end of November or even the first week in December if need be.
And then when you are, like, in terms of managing funds, it's very important to keep all copies of all invoices, quotations, and proof of payments. This is for like reporting and auditing processes on our side. So like we want to know like how the money was spent, as much as this is going to be included in your event proposal, as well as the budget document. But like it's very important to keep receipts of how the money was spent. And we're also trying to avoid having leftover funds from the teams, because that process is very tedious in terms of like transferring back the funds to us if you did not spend everything or all the money that was basically allocated with you. We're still dealing with those problems from the previous cycle. So we're trying to avoid having that to happen again this year. And then like after everything has been confirmed, you've confirmed like participants that are going to be participating in your regional hackathons, and you will then do like the final checks where you confirm supplier bookings and make the payments, and just like ensuring that like the venue that you're going to be using is like a good place and is safe, and there's also like Wi-Fi equipment and all the other necessary resources that are going to be ready before you host a hackathon. I think, Nick, you already highlighted the people that should be at your event. For example, you would have speakers. For example, here we invited Jessica from ZDU who spoke to you about the resources that are available. You're also going to need like tutors or mentors who are going to be present throughout your hackathons to offer the participants the necessary support that they need. And then you're going to have judges, which is like a bit different from the structure that we're following at this hackathon specifically. So the people who are going to be here are not necessarily going to be like judging, but they're just going to give you like guidelines and just like the reviews of the work that you've been doing for the past 2 days. However, in your situation, it's going to be different, right? You're going to need like a team or judges that are going to evaluate the team challenges, challenge solutions rather, and presentations, and also like include like team winning team prizes for those teams who submit the best solutions. So like you can maybe like give them laptop bags, airports, or whatever, but there should be no cash prizes. And then in terms of communication, since like we are going to be having two regional hackathons, which are a lot, and these are going to be hosted in 30 different countries, good communication is going to be essential. So that we also get to understand what team is doing on their side. So we basically would like everyone to be active on social media, or the Slack challenge that we're going to create, just like sharing moments that highlight what's happening at your regional hackathon. So each team will also be assigned a shared Google Drive folder, which is something that we did last year, where you will be able to upload all your project documents, presentations, and any other supporting materials that are going to be needed on our side. This is also going to include maybe a folder where you can upload photos and other progress documents. And this is to basically just ensure that all submissions are organized and accessible to us and just easy to review. So this is just an example of how the Google Drive folders are going to be structured. And this is an example from last year. Each team, for example, going to have Team Botswana, Team Namibia, and then they're going to have their own Google Drive folder where they upload their documents and what will be happening actually on each day throughout the regional hackathons. As I mentioned that we're also going to have a Slack channel, and we're going to use this to post you're going to use this to post regular updates on your hackathon progress. And this also allows the mentors as well as the organizers to track process and to also provide the support that you might need at that time. So this is just some pictures that we have from the previous cycle, which are really nice. As you can see, these are just not random pictures, but they can also see, you can also see what they're working on, for example. So we just have more or less the same expectations, just to make us understand what's happening during the regional hackathons. These are just more pictures. And then on the last day, you're going to have a group photo, because you're also going to have t-shirts for your participants. So on the last day, please do send us a group photo and the summary of your event as well. But I'm going to explain these details further as we are working towards the regional hackathons. And then you already highlighted this part, Nikki, about the importance of the feedback forms. So this is the feedback that we received from the participants in the previous cycle. We asked them about how useful the resources that we provided to them. As we can see, the majority of them indicated that the resources were extremely helpful. We also asked them about how the hackathon environment, if actually the hackathon environment encouraged them to think creatively and analyze problems in new ways. As you can see, majority indicated that they were indeed encouraged. And then we also asked them about the improvement by area, in terms of skills. We asked them about if the machine learning skills, for example, improved teamwork skills, problem solving, as well as time management. And then majority indicated that they did improve. And then we also asked them about the overall experience of the hackathon. And you can see by the numbers, people indicated that they were happy and they learned a lot during the regional hackathons. So yeah, that's what we also expect on your side as well. We are going to be sending all the templates and all the necessary resources. This is not the last communication that I'm having. We're still going to speak about this. We're still going to discuss how each team is going to implement the regional hackathons. This is just an overview what should be happening after this hackathon, essentially. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know.
So can the judges and mentors be the same person, or are they comparable?
They can be the same person, and it's often a good idea to have a few of the mentors, or at least one mentor to be a judge, because I'll show in my lessons learned slides just now that observing how the teams work together and which team worked well, it didn't just have one person doing all the work and leaving out everyone else. That also counts, so yeah, they definitely can overlap.
Any other questions? I don't see any hands online as well. Oh, Muslim.
First, I would request you to share your presentation with us so that we can try to follow the information. One thing that I need to clarify about is, will you send representatives when you host in our regions, or like for example, how are we going to get access of your, let's say you want to interview, or they will have can show who was like your data.
Yeah. So I will share the presentation slides with everyone. With regards to promotional materials, like last year we didn't have any like brochures, so it's only like like we didn't have, what do you call this? The banners, sorry, like at the regional hackathons. However, when you doing your t-shirts, for example, and your goodie bags, you will include like your funder logos, which I'm going to share as well. This also applies when you putting the call out, like your funder like will also be like represented. So like the logo is very important. So that's how you or people will know that who funded your project. So for example, on your t-shirts, you're going to, if you fund it by Athos or Data, those logos should be included in any promotional materials that you're going to have. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I wanted to clarify. And then another thing, in terms of, okay, you said we should have 3 dates at least to okay, from my side, I think I don't know about other institutions. The process of approving everything, especially when the funding received as centralized governance and marketing, it takes a lot of time to progress, including when I design, let's say the call, it has to go through a whole SMU marketing approval process so that they can also reflect. And again, if, for example, if you have to take about 9 weeks waiting to receive the resources, it might end up, and I was proposing to host, for example, before October, because after October, before October and September, this side. So after October exam starts, and for a lot of so they don't allow any activity until the exams are done. So I'm not from my side how would I approach it, and but let me not go deep. I will leave more on later.
But no, it's fine. Okay, I'll use the mic just so that everyone and online can hear. No, that's all valid concerns. So to clarify, the funds, it won't take 9 weeks from when your budget is approved to when you get it. At least it should take about 4 weeks, to get into that account, and then however long it takes for you to access it or request it. That's dependent on your situation. But so yeah, you're going to basically choose 3 weeks, your top 3 choices, right? And then we will have to look at everybody's scheduling and try and distribute it. Okay. But we'll probably also leave maybe a column there for comments, so you can say can't have it at this time or that time because of this, so we can take it into consideration. But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying about even the marketing will have to go through some kind of process. And things do take time. So I think for those people who have more flexibility in terms of not having to go through these processes, they can take some of the earlier slots. So we'll just have to, have some detailed comments and then take everything into account when we do allocate your hackathon week. Remember, it's only 4 days, right? So yeah, we'll kind of have to do some shifting and optimization there, and figure it out. Were there other questions? No, I mean.
And then the last one was just, okay, I'm just saying we do have some other sponsors that are to support this. So we can say Dara, let's say Dara is the main sponsor. We are also allowed to give them time to add the presentation, maybe like I saw on day 1. Where they will be talking from. So everything you will be doing from there will be online. So online? I'm saying like the presentation that will be done, everything will be online.
No, it can be in person. So it will be, you'll invite the relevant people. Well, it won't be us speaking. If you want us to speak, we can. But the idea is to read out. No. So let me emphasize. So we are providing resources, we're providing support, but the event is yours. The event is yours to make it yours, to invite your own, whoever mentors, judges, speakers, that is up to you. As long as you acknowledge the support, that's all we ask for. Is also,
Also, I ask, is it like comparative 3 dates? Because like from my team side, we sort of have 2 dates, and I also have the same, we also have the same issue that you can't host events like on stressful weeks of exam weeks. Like for currently, I think we can only host a hackathon like between July and maybe late September.
Okay.
Because after that, it's late.
So you mean you would only be able to allocate 2 weeks in that period where it's optimal for you?
Now I'm saying like we have 2 options.
Yeah, 2 options.
Or September.
Yeah, but I mean, when we say 3, we mean 3 weeks.
Oh, the 3 dates.
Not 3 dates, 3 weeks. So it'll be like, I want to host it on the week, in the week of, I don't know, 20th September or something like that, you know? So, or I host it in the week. So you just, plus it's 4 days, so it's roughly, you know, a week. So you're identifying your top 3 weeks where you'd like to hold it, and then we will allocate accordingly so that we don't have more than, say, 3 hackathons happening in the same week, just so that in terms of compute and also our support that we give, that we're not spread to them. Yeah.
So like one of our starting on Friday and overlapping to Monday.
Oh, okay. So let me clarify. Yeah, so it's usually because of support. So it's not usually run over a weekend. But if you need to do that, we can talk about it, right? So yeah. We try and introduce flexibility. If that needs to happen, it just means that, you know, those who are providing any sort of tech support would need to avail themselves at least over Slack or something, should you really need it. If you're whatever platform you're using, whether it's Idea. I'm sure, Theo, you don't want to work on the weekend, right? Right, but if there's no other option, or you cannot work during the week for whatever reason, then we'll have to go back and forth and come to some kind of, you know, arrangement with that. We won't say definitely not at this stage. Ideally, we don't have it over the weekend, just so that you have support from the team. But if need be, we'll have to see how to do it. Thank you.
Not sure if there are any other questions. Okay.
I wanted to ask about the sponsorships, right? So let's say Dara is your sponsor. Can you get other sponsors to supplement your hackathon, or you can't?
No, you can. You can.
We encourage.
Yeah, whenever we encourage it, you can definitely get other people to support your hackathon.
Question on Stobo. So, assuming we get a sponsor, it's okay to put them in the button.
Yes. Yeah. So if you get any sponsors outside of the support that we provide, we can definitely include them in your promotional materials.
So for the outside sponsors, then are we allowed to have cash prizes, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could. So Dara, or you know, I don't know about the other, but usually it's the problem of keeping track of the funds. Like we can't give a receipt for, you know, cash prize.
Oh, okay.
If it's a voucher, we can do that.
Okay.
You know, you can do a voucher for take a lot of Amazon or whatever you want. That we can do because we can show a receipt for it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just actual money that we can't. I mean, I don't know about the other funders, the details of all of them, but at least for those funded by Dara, they have to account for every penny. So it's, yeah, that's why cash prizes are not on.
So it's supposed to include their transfers as well. So the participants provide those their banking details and then you just pay out and then submit the proof of payment.
Chances say no.
No, because that would be that they would have to invoice you, right? That would be our proof for the transaction, to say that. You're paying them for. You say what you pay.
What are you paying for?
Yeah, that's the. So you pay it into the organization's account. The finance team pays it to the participants and that's the
It's very good that we need what our receipt is for that pay.
the proof of payment that we gave the participants, we share with you.
That won't qualify. It gives too much room for dodgy activities.
The 3 weeks that we're supposed to choose, if you did it this month. or-
Yes, it can be any 3 weeks in the whole period, from when it's realistically possible, will be the first week, I haven't worked it out yet. When the first week is, and then up until first week of December, I guess. Ideally, end of November.
Yeah.
Eh? Yeah,
Say
end
end of October.
End of October?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would be interesting, but yes, we can see.
So from early September, all the way to the end of October. We can push it to November on a case by case basis.
Okay, there's one more.
Solomon, you include even, okay, the vouchers are fine.
Yes.
Yes,
And-
vouchers
and
are
prizes.
fine, yeah.
The sponsor into the corporate sector.
Oh,
If it's in line with community science and strong. Is it possible that that particular sponsor can contribute maybe a small program site? Take for example, if it's drama and vision market, can assist with this. They might want to know what is the ROI to that contribution. I think that the main idea would still be to be able to see how you contribute to this problem that you're given. So we can see the solution that you're able to deploy, right? But then again, if, for example, whoever your sponsor would be able to use a solution like this for whatever case, that they propose they can, that you can, say that this solution, for example, was supported by, by the sponsor, this is how they're going to deploy it. But remember, at the end of the day, we want to be able to demonstrate how diverse teams are able to apply, the sort of own context and interpretation of the particular problem, when they're rolling out. I think we should try to stick
so yeah,
as much as possible to.
add to what Charles said, you couldn't fully replace our chat
Yeah.
with your own ones.
Yeah.
If you needed to add on another day that they're sponsoring, say a 5th day, to work on a little project of theirs, then perhaps, yes.
And I just want to add that the point of this training is that, this will be the first of many hackathons that all of you will organize, right? So after this, you would know what's the most efficient way to organize a hackathon, and hopefully for the future hackathons, it shouldn't take you like 3 months or 4 months. You can just start spinning out hackathons very quickly. And that can be another approach. If you get someone who is willing to sponsor a hackathon, then you say, okay, you sponsor the next one in November, December, January, and so on. So keep the momentum going and don't let this be the only hackathon that you organize.
Another question.
For this case, can we use like the program that is going to be presented by the panel and selection criteria or some funds?
Oh, no, so the question was asked that, if you want, can you have a problem and as a selection criteria for the regional hackathon? And the answer is no, because remember, we're making it the core of Hack4dev is making things accessible. Okay, so we don't want to exclude those that might have less experience. Yeah.
I'm not sure about the themes for the hackathon solutions too, or are we open to?
So you the notebooks of the challenge that we were doing for this cohort has been shared with you. So it's an Earth observation challenge involving determining the age of buildings. So you can use that in various different ways, for practical use, which Prof. Thron will talk to you about when he introduces the challenge. But that is the project that every regional hackathon will run. Unless you have a specific need to run one of our different projects, but it has to be our project, otherwise we cannot ensure the objectives will be met. Yeah.
Another question about the size of the teams, each team. So how many teams are inside a team? Because in the example, you say 5. They take the example that they have 5 people for one game.
Yeah.
And if there are 10 games, then you have 50 people.
No, so the maximum number of participants that you will accept, I mean, in terms of budget, even with catering and stuff, it was all planned around a maximum of 30 participants for the regional hackathon. That's the maximum. Yeah, so I think you should aim for anything between 20 and 30 participants based on those who meet the criteria, how many applications you get, things like that. Yeah.
And so we also mentioned goodie bags and t-shirt. Is that we need to do it on our side for our budget, or you guys?
No, it's your event. It's your hackathon. You can make this t-shirt look however you want.
I saw the t-shirt, they had logo, so we have
Yes,
to.
you have to use not all the logos of all the partners that we presented today, only the one that is funding your hackathon and the Hack4dev. And you can have obviously UCT and yeah.
That's sort of a bit. A lot of it's a lot of stuff. Was first of all, you don't know how many people apply are going to qualify, and then you need to wait for them to apply and to get t-shirts for their sizes.
Yeah, so that's why we have a timeline, right? That's why we have a timeline. So that's why we say that by a month before your hackathon, a month prior to your regional hackathon, you will already know who your participants are. And that is ample time to order t-shirts. Usually.
We will review the application from our side.
Yes, so what will happen is you will set up in your organizing team, or even if you want to bring others from outside your organizing team to help review, we'll give you some guidance in terms of the rubric or scoring that we use. And then you will go through it. And then once you have your final selection, you'll arrange a meeting with us just to have a half-an-hour meeting just to look at who your, how many participants you have. We'll just check the diversity, just to make sure everything's okay. Or you maybe not even a meeting, but some communication to say this is the process we took and this is our final list of participants. Obviously in the sheet we need to see the skill level, the gender, things like that. Yeah.
So like for us, it's voluntary work, but then for the judges that we invite,
right,
and the people who invite for folks and judges, most of them might require stuff.
So you can work that into your budget, but we can't give cash. You can do vouchers.
Okay.
Vouchers or gifts. Yeah. So for judges, I mean, gifts are nice, or vouchers if need be, but we have to show a receipt. But you must, if you think you need to do that for your event, then you'll have to work it in your budget.
It's important to mention that it's mandatory target.
There's again.
No, I mean, if someone wants to be paid, we just have to serve.
Yeah.
Do I think it works for?
Yeah, that's right. Like I said, so these events, they're meant for capacity building, training, innovation, and so on. So it's important that it attracts the right kind of mentors, experts, collaborators, partners, and so on, right? So that should be part of the mission that you explain when you approach people to support you. Just like your team members, you're all volunteering to run the hackathon. Similarly, those who contribute in other ways must be able to do so as well, as much as possible. We do understand there are certain cases where someone might not be able to travel to the location because they don't have transport costs and so on. So in those cases, maybe you can try to work it out, like Nikita says, within the budget and some kind of in-kind contribution, how you can support. So the summary is that you will face lots of different challenges, but the idea is that you organize it. That we are giving you the sort of some flexibility so that you organize this hackathon in the real world, so to speak. You understand what the challenges are, and you can adapt your plans. You can work around the different challenges, and you get to experience what it is like. So we want to support you in the background, but we don't want to organize this for you, because at the end of the day, for you to keep organizing these kinds of events, whether hackathon or something else, you need to know how to handle situations on the ground, how to interact with different sorts of people, especially those of you within universities and academic system. It can be very complicated to organize anything, and again, that's the point here. You need to be able to navigate these systems as efficiently as possible. So this is an opportunity for you to learn how to do that.
I think that's it. Yeah, because I'm going to be here like throughout as well. If you have any further questions or concerns, please do let me know. Yeah, thank you so much. I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Barbara, again. No? I'm trying to add those on maybe. This is it. Oh, and what other thingy as well look like.
Is it going to use this camera, right?
No, we said better than.
Okay.
Wait, isn't this the laptop we've been using?
No.
No, okay. Oh, yeah. Alright, okay. So, yeah, we don't need, I don't need that.
You don't need it?
No, because I'm showing why. Yeah. Right, second. It's too slow. All right. Okay. Oh, there.
It's going to take time.
Okay. So this will be the last thing before lunch, but it's really important. Okay. So please give me whatever energy you have left. Lunch is coming, but it's important because it's all the lessons we learned from the years of running hackathons. Okay, so it'll avoid hopefully any fires. We're going to identify the flames early on and put them out. Right. So the first thing that we learned, it's a combination of running hackathons since 2020, but also specifically for this new model and what we observed in the last cycle, which was the first cycle. Right. So the first thing is around the call for applications for your hackathon. There's a lot of effort required, in some places more than others, but there's a lot of effort required in terms of marketing that call. So a lot of teams in last year's cycle really struggled to get applications. Okay, I don't know if in some cases that might have been due to people's availability. In other cases, it was because they felt they didn't meet the criteria of having intermediate Python experience. Maybe some are just intimidated, like we said. So you need to think about how to market, what channels to use. Okay, obviously you'll use things like social media, email chains, things like that. But use whatever platform you can and market it as widely as possible. And everyone, it's open to everyone qualifies, not just people from your institution or your research institute or wherever you're holding it. But it's open to anyone who meets the criteria of having the intermediate Python programming skill plus a good motivation. Okay, so we want to get as a highest number of applications as possible. All right, you can cap it so that you don't have too much work. You could probably cap it at like 150 or so applications, but in the past cycle, we saw people struggle in many cases. But in most cases, the main reason was because they failed to advertise the call early enough. Okay, they started advertising or disseminating things way too late, and they ran out of time to keep it open for longer. So yeah, it's about timing and it's about effort when it comes to marketing the call for your regional hackathon. Because if we don't get applications, what's the point of all of this? Right? Okay. And the other thing is when you come to doing the scoring and stuff, clean the data first. There's a whole bunch of people who apply who don't meet it. Either people, I don't know how it happens. We sometimes, if your hackathon is in Kenya, you'll get people from Egypt applying, right? Like it just happens, right? So do yourself a favor and clean it first before you start scoring and reviewing. Be aware of how long scoring takes, depending on how many applications you have. Remember, you want each application to be scored at least 3 times for fairness, okay? So whatever your number of applications is, you're going to multiply it by 3, and that's how many, the total number that will have to be reviewed, and you'll distribute that between all those who are scoring. So just be aware that it takes some time because especially the motivation part, some people write 1 line, some people write 3 paragraphs, so it takes time. And this one is very important, okay? We ask for a recommendation letter when they apply. You'll see it in the application form that they should upload a letter of recommendation. The reason we do this is mostly for students. We've had in the past, remember this event is free, the regional hackathon, right? So you don't want to give spots to 10 people who then 3 days before the event say, oh, my supervisor said I can't come. Or actually I have this exam or this test, and they've taken a spot of someone else who could have been there. So that's why we want their host or their supervisor or their boss's commitment or approval for them to attend this. So it's really important that they have that, so that if they say, towards the end, I mean, there are some cases where the circumstances they can't avoid and they can't attend, but this is intended as much as possible to avoid that happening where people drop out and in the last few days. Okay, but it will be in the application form that Zodwal will share. Okay. Right, so we've spoken about this a lot, but in terms of like the people who are mentors or tutors, it takes preparation, okay? We can't expect, you have to make sure that, you're the ones working through this challenge. So whoever's going to be a tutor, you'll have to dedicate maybe at least two meetings with them to take them through the project, tell them about what you did here, the solutions you came up with, just so that they are able to guide participants. But having said that, they are going to provide guidance, but without giving too much assistance. Okay, we want to just guide people in the right sort of direction if they're going way off course or if they don't understand. But the tutor's job is not to do the work for them, to think for them. Okay, so it's finding a nice balance. Right, the other thing is securing the speakers and judges well ahead of time. People are busy, so don't leave it to, 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the event. The sooner you can reach out to, especially if you're inviting people from industry, things like that, the sooner you do it, the better for your speakers and judges. Okay, a little bit more about the team distribution. I know I spoke about it a little bit, but we try and make sure they are equal or even as possible in terms of their prior ML experience. So like we said, it's not a requirement, but you will have participants who apply who do have those skills. So you try and spread it out between the teams so that not everyone with the ML experience is in the same team. Also Python skills. So I don't know, you will see in the application form that there's they just say whether how they use Python, if they've just done a course, if they've done assignments, if they've when was the last time they used Python, all those kinds of questions. So you'll take that into account when you are forming the teams, because you will form the teams for the hackathon. They won't choose their friends and things like that, which is also nice because you force people to work with people that they don't know, which is a very useful skill to develop, working with different kinds of people. It's an important skill. You'll need it forever. And obviously gender. So at past hackathons, what we've done, it depends on the number of females or males that you have at your hackathon. But if you have fewer females, what we do is we avoid putting a female in the team alone if she's the only female in the team. We try and have, if you have fewer females in a team, we put at least 2 females, or you can make an all-female group or whatever you like. But we don't have a female alone in a team with being the only one. And you can ask me about why if you want, but it might be obvious, right? Okay, and then managing the fast-paced nature. So the reason why we're going to take you through 2 days of doing the hackathon is so you can feel it for yourself, and that's the best way to learn. But the participants will always complain that there's not enough time, and you will have to tell them this is the nature of the hackathon. And there are things you can do to help them. So we do provide the notebooks at least 2 weeks before the hackathon. So remember, a month before the hackathon, you know who the participants are already. 2 weeks prior to the hackathon, you can send the notebooks to them so they can go through it. So they won't have a virtual machine of the data, so they can't work through it. Just like how we sent you the notebooks. It's just for them to start thinking or familiarize themselves with it. You can also send them links to resources, to data, machine learning resources, so that they can, if they have no experience, they might want to invest some time in learning a little bit so they feel a bit more comfortable. Obviously, not everyone will actually do that, but for those who want to, it's good to point them to some resources, and we can help you with that. So like I said, it's natural that people will feel like they don't have enough time. We're providing them resources, and they should expect that it will be quite rigorous. It will be quite demanding. I have said to some people that the teams, if they wish to continue working into the night, they can do so, whether they want to meet up in person or whether they want to coordinate with themselves, on WhatsApp or Zoom to continue working into the evening. That is their choice as a team. It's something they're going to have to learn about how they want to use their time. They don't have to, but most teams do try and do that. Okay, the success of a hackathon is having very engaged participants. We usually find at hackathons that you have to kind of chase people out to have tea and lunch and things like that because they are very engaged. So If you're seeing that, that's a good sign. And if you're not seeing, that people are engaged, you might have to put some things in place, or remind people about why they're doing this, or have a reminder of the incentive. Usually the prize is a good incentive, and you never tell them what the prize is beforehand. You keep them curious, okay? They might think it's, I don't know. But yeah, it's prize is usually very motivating. It's also important that every team, so there's two things here. I didn't write both, but so here I've said every team must present a solution or whatever they were able to accomplish. So even if there's a team that didn't manage to do much, okay, they can still present. Every team should present. If they didn't get a solution that was better than the baseline, or they didn't get very far, they can still present on what they did, what the challenges were. It's still an important part of the process for them to actually present. And on that note, it's important that every team member presents as well, so that everybody is involved, and otherwise you'll find people just nominating one person, like you give the whole presentation, and that's not what we want, okay? So I spoke about this a bit more, earlier from the question that we had, but judging, you'll look at how well they understood. We'll give you the proper scoring rubric, but you'll look at how well they understood the problem and how creative they were with the solution. But like I said, the dynamics of the team are very important as well. If they had one expert in the team that did all the work, and the other 4 people had no idea what was going on, they should not win. Right? You win or lose as a team. Teamwork is a huge part of any hackathon. So it should be included when the selection is done. This is also very important. Hack4dev has a code of conduct. If you look at the Hack4dev website, there is a code of conduct, and on the first day you will have to show this to them and make sure for everyone's well-being that you enforce this code of conduct. And because ultimately, as the organizers, you will be responsible should anything happen. Okay, well, we hope that nothing does happen, but you do have to make people aware that there is a code of conduct. This is what it is, and if anyone does not comply with that, you can ask them to leave. Things like that. Okay, and this is something Zorba said, but I'll reiterate because it was it was very, very difficult the last cycle. You're going to try and prepare your budgets as accurately as possible, okay? If that means getting your quotes, the issue is sometimes you budget for 30 people and you get 15 or 16. This is why we want to work on getting a lot of applications. That was the first point, right? Because you want to achieve the number that you budgeted for. We don't want any leftover funds. It's a real process if there's leftover funds, because they'd have to be returned. So we want you to prepare your budget as accurately as possible. We want you to spend all the money that you're given. So, obviously within reason, in reasonable ways, in acceptable ways. We can actually, there were a few teams, I was just that reminded me about the banners. There were a few teams during last year's cycle who did allocate money for printing a banner. Don't go crazy with all of them, but if you do want to design a banner or have one with the logos, it's just about how often will you use it, kind of thing. But if you really need one, we can maybe include that. But yes, try and be very mindful when preparing the budget, because once it's finalized and those funds are sent to you, we want you to spend all of it. And again, you have to keep every single receipt, because money that you can't account for will not be included when we do the final, what's the word?
Reconciliation.
Yeah, when we reconcile everything at the end, we can't include it unless you have receipts for it. Okay, so there were cases in different countries where for some reason the team needed to use a taxi, things like that. I know sometimes you can ask even the taxi to just invoice you with a little receipt that they have. You can try that. I know that for DARA funded people, there is a process to there's a form that you sign, but it only works for amounts under £10. So it's not for big amounts, but there is like a declaration that they can use for like cases like that. If there was a taxi or something where you absolutely could not get a receipt, there is a way for that, but only for small amounts, amounts under £10. But yes, please try as much as possible to be aware about that from the start and keep all receipts when spending. Uber is fine, Uber receipts, anything that can be, motivated. I think if you are going to stray far away from what you proposed in your budget, then, or, include a big expense that was not laid out in your budget, you'd have to email us first. Okay, you'd have to say, oh, I realize we need this thing, and I think we have the budget for it. Can you confirm we can use the money for this? Okay. But yeah, I think that's it in terms of lessons. If I think of any more, but I think we've covered a lot just in our discussion, and that's good. On the final day, there will also be about an hour for us to talk about any leftover concerns or maybe suggestions we might have of, actually, I think this is going to work better. Or can we do it this way? Okay, so we have our structure and how we do things, but it's open to flexibility because we know it's different in each context. But that's the end of the lessons. Does anyone have any questions?
There's a question on Zoom.
Oh. Oopsie.
So the question is, can they run their event in August?
Oh. Is that enough time? Is there
They
9
have to
weeks?
advertise like now, next week.
How many weeks until August?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. No. Well, a month and a half. Right. So you could potentially, but you
Okay, 24th August.
$24. Yes, that could work. Okay, because you need, remember the guide we work with that we found is tried and tested is that a month prior or 4 weeks prior to your hackathon, you should already know who your participants are and the number of participants, because obviously getting your merchandise, getting your catering will depend on the final number of participants you have. You cannot secure catering or merchandise for 30 people and you end up with 16 people at your hackathon. That will be a problem. So you can, but a month is enough to secure catering, merchandise, things like that. So that's why we say you work toward having a final list of participants at least 1 month prior to your hackathon. So if you can do that, the call, we keep it open for a week or two. And to get a lot of, some places you might get tons of applications in the first week, and then you've hit your 150 mark or whatever you want to cap it at, and then you can close applications. But in other places you might struggle to see those numbers. So it depends. It's different for each hackathon. But yes, the end of August could work.
And you guys mentioned feeding the loss numbers. So is it just making sure that it is within the region, or what are the other things that we must feed?
Making sure it's within your region, because ideally you're not helping the participants with transport. So as long as they're within, like I said, you get crazy applications from different parts of the world. And then I suppose those without any Python experience. So programming experience is another way to claim it.
And in terms of the letter of recommendation, is it like it has to be like a lecturer, their like boss, or is it, because I feel like some people might get like their tutors and like to do that, but then their tutors are like a year older than the.
Yeah, no, it would have to be their, if they're a student, it would have to be their supervisor if they're hosting.
Anyone about undergrads?
Undergrads. That's a good question. We've never had that. So usually we do not accept this is meant for people at postgraduate level and above. We have had some final year undergrads attend or like honors, obviously, as part of postgrad. But in terms of having the skill, there are sometimes undergraduates who have the skill and can attend. I mean, if it doesn't clash with lectures and things that you would like to do that, it's not something that we exclude. I guess maybe the head of that course that they're something like that, just to say that yes, I know that this person is going to be spending 4 days doing this and I approve it. Yeah. We can even give you a template for the recommendation letter that they can get someone.
Yeah, just a comment on the undergraduate class. Be kept down for a second.
Oh, do you want to come? Is this?
I was trying to.
By the way, for those who might not know, we have 2 team leads here who participated in last year's cycle. So Uncle Betsy is one of them.
Who's the other?
That was the other one.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I wanted to comment on your undergraduate students. So for that, I think you can even go up to maybe getting something from the school itself, because I had like a couple of students who were undergraduate. They've managed to get a support letter, but at the last moment, when they were supposed to travel, the school started sending me emails like, "Who are you guys? Why are you taking our students?" Like, so I had to go back now, talk to the schools, then we make a now arrangement with my school to send them letters and say, no, the students will be safe. They're coming for something that is educational related. So be careful with the undergraduates. Make sure that you get all the papers, especially from the school itself.
Yeah, we're just trying to ensure that they don't take a spot if they can't attend. Yeah.
I don't know, but from my perspective, I think hosting a hackathon for postgraduate is going to be a first challenge.
Okay.
Simply looking at that, their main focus is on training or development of the skills rather than research. Unless you are allowing us to do the next stage. Because most people that are interested in this type of skill and exploring after years, and from my perspective on the institution that I work in. But what I can request is securing only postgraduates to be the participant. It's not going to be doable.
Yes.
Because some of them, they already passed that. So what they want to see is just to see how I can apply on the model that I developed for my research focus.
Yeah.
Hence, even the supervisors might not be interested to say, then
it might not be relevant.
What if whatever you're going hackathon theme is not in line with what we're working on now?
Well, then I mean, there's 2 parts to that. So one is that you would have to make people aware that the skills are transferable. Like we said, these techniques you learn, data science, machine learning, once you have those skills, you can apply them to any data set, any problem. So, I mean, not any data set, but many different data sets and different problems. So that's something you could include in your communication, that these are valuable skills to build, even at the postgraduate level, if they don't have it, and if it will aid them. You might have people who are looking at what they're going to do for, say, if they're in masters, what they're going to do for PhD, for example. You might have people who have decided, academia is not for me, and I want to see what else I can do. And I think having this skill would be really useful, and they might want to not to continue with academia after. So it's for a lot of different cases, really. But yes, I think having undergraduates, it's not something we have excluded. It's just in terms of the level, they should just be able to cope. And you would be able to tell them from the application. In terms of private.
I think.
Oh, yes, Charles?
I wanted to say that it's also very important to think that the future of research is going to be mostly interdisciplinary. And I think, encouraging postgraduate students to take part in something like this expands, on them thinking outside of the boxes that, their research confines them to. And also they get to see how useful these skills can be in other, in other areas as well, right? And that might also be something that helps, even in their research direction. So as much as possible, try to encourage more I encourage more postgraduate students to actually take part in something like this other than undergraduates, because undergraduates are still trying to find their way as to where they're going, but postgraduates would be more suitable and able to apply themselves in, especially with the problem like this, whatever the case could be.
I guess I think it's mostly like a numbers work, because I know in UCT alone, computer science there's like 80 people, and in stats there's like 40 people, and that's only like fourth year, but like honors level students. Like I think with sometimes postgrad is like masters and up, and then it's like even less. So we would really struggle to
Remember, it's not limited to people from UCT.
Yes.
It's not limited. It could be people from UWC, from CPUT, it could be people from who are working, it should be open to everyone, unless for some reason your institution will not allow people from outside. For some, I don't know if that exists. We haven't encountered it before, but you are opening this as wide as possible, and you score things blindly, so. Yeah, and so it'll be open to every department. I mean, people who have Python programming skills now, they could be, doing chemistry, physics. There's a bunch of different engineering, yeah.
So I want to ask, the lot happens was, okay, from my sort of experience or perspective of hackathon, most people that do hackathons, it's mostly second and above. I'm still not a great thing. It's mostly second and above to do hackathons. And from UCT side, what if now we get 90% undergrads? And okay, from UCT, if you're in second year and you're in a STEM career, in a STEM degree, you have done Python first year, you know Python. And it's a concept of intermediate and Python codes and everything. And we get like 10% postgrad. What do we do then? Who do you prioritize first? I think even me as an undergrad, I sort of want to do more hackathons than postgrads. Most people want to do hackathons, and we'll get. I'm sure from my side, we'll get undergrads, because even the hackathon companies, it's mostly for second and above. Because people sort of have time to do hackathons. So we now they sort of all goes. Oh, we need postgrad more, so I can take all of them and declare undergrads plus.
You mean how do you prioritize when you're doing selection?
Yes.
I think you wouldn't take the level into account. You'd look at the motivation and the level of Python, the Python experience. Okay, those are the two things you'd look at. You wouldn't really look at whether they're undergraduates or not. It's just that the reasons that we've aimed this as postgraduate is because of the skills that they already have. They're fairly confident in their Python. Otherwise, it will not benefit them the way you think or the way we intend it to. Okay, so if they are undergraduates who have a sufficient experience, they've been learning on their own, they're very passionate about data science, it's definitely doable. I think it's funny you say that undergraduates have more time, because I feel it's like the other way around. Undergraduates have coursework, tutorials, assignments. Postgraduates have more flexibility. But yes.
Can I ask, when we do the poll, should we disclose, or like how do you guys say, okay, when you do the poll for applications, how are you going to should we use the theme to attract the applications, or how do you want the poll to go? I can decide how I want it, because for example, if I can just say hackathon, okay, application, regional, I know for sure, because for example, SMU is a health institution. So even the students from medicine and other, so we kind of health sciences thinkers. So you will find that most of the proposals that I'll receive, it will be based on health, nothing to touch with maybe safety or whatever the theme is. So I'm saying I can use, because it's a hackathon, I can use a unique theme to attract the applicants.
So I think, since we know the theme, we should mention it. And I think you need to be clever in how you market it and what words you use, because this is looking at imaging data. It's a computer vision project, which is very useful for health sciences. Prof. Thorn, do you want to add to that in terms of, so the question was about the university where they'll be holding this regional hackathon is a medical one, and they're a bit worried about, advertising the regional hackathon as the, it's an Earth observation project. They feel like people may not apply. But what I'm trying to suggest is that they really get it across in their marketing that, acquiring these skills, we're working with images, that it can be, the techniques can be applied or beneficial in health sciences as well.
Yeah, well, honestly, in this particular, the fit with medical is not.
Yeah, it's more satellite bands.
I mean, certainly there is image processing with machine learning, but I would struggle to connect this directly with what medical needs. So I don't really know. I mean, that's my honest answer. You can always say these techniques are important, and just becoming familiar with how to use AI to find the right method, how to use Jupyter, all these kinds of things can be very useful in general. So I think that may be enough to attract people to come to if some people are both medical and also technically oriented who want to get into that field, it might be enough to attract them.
I think just on my side, in terms of the health science, I think that it's also very important for the health science to start seeing how they can use, Earth observation data for their own work. Like, for example, looking what kinds of environments, have the conditions to, that are linked to certain diseases, for example. They could use that as Earth observation, data, linked to sort of health sciences, right? And that is now a new skill that they could be acquiring, just how they could use, Earth observation and the data and the skills that they learn to apply to the health sciences. There are many applications that, one can think of that could, start linking various, either even magnetic to, to the conditions, or, that can be observed with satellite data and stuff like that. So it's just, embedding that way of thinking into the process.
Yeah, I think just that the skills are transferable, and also that you're developing more than just the technical skills here. Networking, soft skills, it's all part of it. It's for free. It's worthwhile for any student. Yeah. But I understand what you're saying. We'll have to work towards that a bit more. There was an online question. Since we are the only team from Asia, can we allow other participants from neighboring countries to participate via online track? So there will not be an online component. There is an online component here because you're all team leads and you all need to know about how to organize a Hack4dev data science hackathon. But your events will be fully in person just because of the logistics around it. It's not easy to have a hybrid event. We've done it. If it's just not easy to keep those who are online engaged. They don't have the same experience as working together like a hackathon. In the COVID years, we did have online hackathons. They worked, to an extent, but it's an issue in terms of people's availability, their commitment to being in the team. So we want the participants to have the full hackathon experience, to be with each other in person, to network, to learn those skills of working in a team. If you feel like you have a strong need or reason to make it hybrid, maybe we can talk about it, you can reach out to us, but these regional hackathons will plan with the intention of them all being in person fully. Any other questions?
Okay, I think there's another thing which on hosting the hackathon, I think, can you add more, maybe more restrictions? Like for example, when I come from Zambia, so far we are 3 here from 3 different institutions. Yeah, with motivation is like even maybe students from my university can still participate. Hosted at Zambia, or maybe at CP, and then I can't believe that is about, right? Yeah, then the institutions maybe I streamline for institution. I say maybe participation will only be for students at university only.
Are the three institutions close to each other?
No, but like Unza and my institution, we have about 140K.
Yeah, so you would attract different, it would only be remember one of the requirements in the application form is, can you commute daily to this hackathon? So they will naturally choose, when you have all the regional hackathons will be on the Hack4dev website as well. Like, so they will see, oh, this one is closer, I'll go to this one, it will happen naturally. That's what I feel. We try not to restrict, just in case there's some people who are, already doing maybe some kind of internship somewhere, and they feel like, this would really be valuable to them as well. I feel like casting a wide net is never a bad thing. Okay, because what we've seen in the last cycle is you struggle to get numbers in terms of applications. So you want to cast as wide as a net as possible, and then get your final list.
Okay, so we can restrict the region maybe to town. I can say town, I can say within the.
Yeah, I suppose that would
When
be.
there are people who actually can say maybe I can provide my own thing just to, like you say, for capacity building, just for networking, and like someone can offer. Already for me, I've actually been saying it to my students.
Yeah.
Say this happening, and I've interacted with different lecturers actually from different institutions who are not here, of which they say, when you hosting it and the like, you can invite us. Something like that. Where the institution is actually willing to pair the students, those who fit to the venue, to participate in something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Uncle Vincent and some thoughts.
I thought of this because we have another leader from Ruby. I think the best thing to do is to communicate with your other colleagues, so that, because you will find out that you will have the one person registering for all of them. Then maybe all of you are going to select that person, then the same thing. So I think they should know the days. First, they have to know when they want to host them. They have to communicate so that the person will maybe open to fill another, always open the other one.
Yeah.
Then when you do selections, then you look at the names and compare whether you got the same numbers. Because if you make it like it's just for this audience, then you can get numbers.
Yeah.
And then communication among themselves should.
Yeah, we can also probably stagger it so that they at different times.
Yeah.
To make it less confusing in terms of when we allocate which week you get. Yeah, as long as 30 is not a lot in terms of spaces. So now you're opening it up. You're having 3. Even if they're in the same institution or close to each other, you're still providing more opportunity with, like Uncle Ben is saying, you don't want to have the same applicant accepted for all of them. So you will have to. That's a good point. You will have to stay in communication about your selection to say, make sure you don't have overlap in terms of your final list. Maybe you can just share with each other once you have your final list of participants and see. But yeah, naturally you will have a lot of people from your institution applying. And from the ones that you mentioned who they say they can bring their students, you will naturally have more applications from there. But we just leave it open to, you could say the region, or, if you think that people from outside the region wouldn't be able to make it or would be unlikely to actually commit, then yeah, you could restrict it to that place.
You guys mentioned the numbers. So how did the numbers look last year? So what was like the signups and the how many people actually participated, like attendance rates?
Okay, it was very different for each hackathon. Okay, because each regional hackathon has different challenges. Like I mentioned, some people, it was an issue of not marketing early enough, so then it was down to the organizing team. That was a fault of theirs for not putting enough effort into marketing the call or doing it early enough. In other areas, it was just a question of Python and people not having enough people to meet that criteria. But again, if you had thought about that when you were marketing it, you could have mitigated that problem. So it was very different from all of them, but we did have a few that had, so last year's was restricted to 24 participants max, and that's just because of it was very heavy in terms of resources, computational resources, so we had to limit the number of teams. So it was 24, and we definitely had that in a few places. Oaks, how many did you have?
Not a lot of things.
Okay.
We were 7 to 8.
Okay, all right. So there were some places that were more around the mid-teens, 17, 18, and then others who went to 24. Yeah, but in terms of number of applications, it varied greatly.
I don't think that the marketing part is very important because for us.
Do you want to please use this for the sake of the online?
Like, for example, in our case, we got more interest after the events. Like, people, when they saw, like, maybe in a university page that there was a hackathon going on, that's when people started coming to us and say, why are we not invited? And so we have to maybe communicate, if you are within the university, maybe communicate with the heads of different departments so that they can make students aware. Because students in the university will see a post, but they are not really interested until now they see, oh, this thing was kind of, then they will show interest. So the marketing part, I think, it's crucial for, and I will see how it go this year.
Yeah. Yes, thanks. Obviously, I think it's definitely true. Like sending it to the different departments if you're in a university, asking them to circulate, because it matters who it comes from. Okay, it matters who it comes from. So think about that when you're marketing, disseminating the call. Yeah. All right. I think we should go and eat, and we can continue discussions and questions. Like maybe, you have one last remark?
Yes, so from you.
Sorry, can you please also come for the online? Thank you.
Yeah, so another issue I would say is mainly about inconsistencies. Like in our case, we got around 120 applications, and then when we narrowed it down to around 34, eventually the people showed up were about 14. So there's an issue of just gauging the consistency and the motivation of the participants. So it's hard to see or to tell who is going to show up and who is not going to show up. So it's so I was saying maybe if we have suggestions on how to improve how you can select participants to gauge on motivation and things like that. Another issue we had was some of the judges or some of the team members had issues with just generating the motivation statements using AI. Don't know how you can go about that in your different teams, and maybe just identifying the actual participants, whether how you can just tell from the statements whether this person has got enough skills, or how you can identify that particular person. So yeah, like in our case, I did do calls, like, you had said you can expect another person from a different institution. So I'd say you shouldn't just restrict on the region, because, yeah, sometimes we had a person you could not have expected to show up, just showing up on the, like, let's say a person from 120 kilometers who happened to be traveling to Nairobi at that time. They participated very well. So you can, yeah, for such scenarios, maybe when you do the selection, like I did do some calls to just confirm that they're going to show up. But even after calling, you can still get people not showing up. Yeah, one final one was, what do you do about random show ups? Like, for example, in my case, somebody showed up on the actual event. They had not done the review on the material, but their motivation was way up. So I just had to allow it. And although I had asked that, but it wasn't allowed. But you can find somebody, like, let's say we have just seen there's an event and from the school, and maybe there are extra slots to how you go about that. It also happened in another institution still in Kenya, where some students just happened to an event and they did happen to maybe have the skills and show up. So how you handle that, it's another thing. Or don't.
Okay, that's a lot. Yes, another question.
No, it was a contribution to him showing up.
Okay.
Yeah. What I've learned works best usually is on the call out, you don't include the location or the venue where the thing will be. So you put it in the email, the confirmation email. That's the way it helps.
Right. No, that's a good point. So for those online, if the suggestion to avoid people randomly showing up was to not include the venue. You can say the institution, but not the exact venue of where this event will be held, to avoid people just showing up. I think if you have, for whatever reason, space and you have fewer people, I mean, people can attend maybe the talks on the first day. But in terms of the resources, the teams, and having access to the compute resources, that's obviously something you can't provide if you already have the number of people that you plan for. Obviously, I can't remember the other points you mentioned now. The first ones.
Consistency.
Oh yeah, people saying that. Yeah, so we spoke about how to try and avoid that as much as possible, having people be selected. So after you send a email saying that they've been selected, you'll see that one of the things Zonal will send you is a confirmation of participation form, and they will have to sign there as well that they confirm their participation. So there's a few times that you're asking them, are you sure you can attend? You're asking for the recommendation letter of support. To ensure they have the time. So we're trying everything possible to avoid. And then obviously your communication, that's very important as well. So once you've selected them, it's important to not just go quiet. Okay, you keep communication with them. It's not that many people you send out an email, you're going to be sending emails in terms of, you keep the excitement going for the event. It's 3 weeks to go, and we will be sharing the resources with you, the notebooks with you next week, and just keeping them in the loop, keep keeping them engaged, so that it's part of the challenge. It's part of keeping people aware and excited about the event. But it's all good things to be thinking about at this point, right? So that you can plan accordingly. It's going to be different challenges, different situations for each hackathon. So yeah, you're trying to identify what those things might be so you can put things in place from now. Okay, right. Are we ready to go for lunch? Okay, let's go for lunch. It's all around.
Yeah. Sorry, before you all go for lunch, I just wanted to say, during lunch, please make use of the time to meet each other if you don't know each other. And there's also people like Charles there, who's a technical expert, Nikita, there's Prof. Tron. So talk to all of these people during lunch, and you're also free to walk around the site. So we will be back at 2 p.m. So you have roughly 55 minutes. So be back here at 2 o'clock. You're free to eat your lunch and take a walk and do other things.
Okay.
For all the online people, we will be back in 55 minutes.
But there's an email sent and you did not receive it.
The last email I received was of the link to the onboarding meeting.
No
From
other
them?
emails about like
No
the
other
presentations and stuff.
None of that. So yesterday on the plane, I found out from Zilani that there was an email sent for the t-shirts. Found out from my neighbor here that there was notebooks sent. So